Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Alexis and this is the preview to the introduction to the complete DeepvWeb course for 2017. The complete DeepvWeb course 2017 is an extensive and detailed course that has everything that you'll need to begin browsing the deep web, and we will take you through the beginning to the end, showing you how you can create a secure environment. We're going to be advising on the precautions to take while browsing the deep web and showing you how to properly configure Tor on multiple Linux distros and the Windows operating system. In addition, we will also be taking you through the installation process of popular security-based operating systems like CubesOS and TailsOS. We will cover all aspects of the deep web, from the search engines to the deep web social networks. We will also cover how you can install and access Tor on your Android device. And in addition to all of that, the course will be updated every week with newer and newer content. So I urge you to join us today and let's get browsing. Thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to the first video in the first section of the course. And in this video, what we're going to be looking at is basically what the deep web is, and what are the differences between the deep web, the darknet, and the clear web. So let's get started. So basically the deep web, or it's also known as the invisible web or the hidden web, are parts of the World Wide Web whose contents are not indexed by standard search engines or cannot be indexed by web crawlers. So that means that you can't really find this information using the standard search engines, and it is estimated that the deep web makes up 96% of the entire internet, and that's really a lot when you come to scale how big the surface web really is. Now let me explain the differences with the help of this image right here. Very, very nice image that'll hopefully explain everything clearly. So before we go into the differences, let's actually look at a very, very key thing here. Now, the term deep web and dark web are often interchanged with each other, but they are not the same thing. The deep web simply refers to anything on the deep web that can't be found using a search engine. And as you can see from this image right here, let's start explaining what the differences really are. So the surface web is every website that you use on a daily basis. For example, you can be using YouTube, Google, etc., etc. These are basically sites that can be accessed through a link. For example, if I search, for example, the name of a video on Google, the title of YouTube, the YouTube video will actually show up right there. And that means that it can be indexed through a search engine or can be accessed through web crawlers. Now, the deep web contains information or things that are private, and anything that has security or authentication in order to access it. For example, we have emails, Dropbox, social media, and information that cannot be accessed with web crawlers or search engines. Now let me explain what this means. If I went to Google and I searched for the title of an email with the recipient name, I guarantee it's not going to come out, and that's because it's not going to come up, and that's because it cannot index emails because it requires a certain level of authentication. And this is what I wanted to explain to you. Many people, we want to basically access the deep web, and they really don't understand that the deep web is also part of the clear web, but slightly different. Now, the dark web contains things that are purposely hidden, not necessarily for security reasons, and requires special software to access it, which we'll be discussing later in this course. And the example of that is Tor. We need the Tor browser to access the darknet, because those are basically sites that are purposely hidden so that basically you can't index them with a search engine on the deep web and the surface web. So that's basically it. We basically interchange these two terms together, but in essence they are all the same because they cannot be indexed through a search engine. Alright, so that's basically it for the first video. Hope you guys found this interesting. If you have any questions, just enter them in the Q&A section. Hello everybody and welcome to the second video in the first section. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the common misconceptions and myths regarding the deep web or the dark net or dark web. So let's get started. So basically, one of the most common myths that you'll find is that the deep web is illegal to access and that you may get arrested, or the FBI may come and knock at your door. Now, well, that is a very unique type of claim, especially since accessing the deep web is legal, and the software used to access the deep web or the darknet, which is the Tor browser, is actually free and it's legal to use. The only thing is that the police are trying to track down, or the FBI or any law enforcement agency are tracking down people who are doing malicious things on the deep web. They're not targeting everyone accessing the deep web. So really that's a very easy myth to bust. And you might find that in some countries that have certain level of censorship on the internet, for example North Korea, those type of countries will not have access to even the clear net or the normal internet, and that's really much more focused on countries that do not allow internet at all. Now, the second myth is that it is dangerous to access, in the sense that it's more risky, and there's a higher chance that your system will be infected. And that's not true at all, because statistics prove that the clear web has more threats in terms of threatening your computer or your identity, in the sense that there's so much malware on the clear web in forms of downloads, torrents, and the works really. So the third one is that you will be targeted or hacked, and that the risk of you being hacked is very high. Now, the deep web, as I said, every part of the internet has its advantages and disadvantages. Now, the deep web is only dangerous on certain malicious websites, certain sites that you may visit if you have the wrong intent. And as I've mentioned before, it's all about the sites that you visit. If you visit a dangerous site, then the risk of you being hacked gets higher. So it really is up to you and whether or not you want to get hacked. Now, the fourth one, which is also quite a very important one, is it's only for criminals. Now, the deep web is used by more than 2 million people every day. And almost all of these people use it for communication and anonymity. For example, it's used by journalists who want to basically post stories or post whatever information that they have anonymously. So really, the deep web is used for good. It's not like it's not. Now, I think this is one of the most interesting ones. It's the fifth one, and that the fact that red rooms are real, or red rooms exist. Now, if you guys don't know what red rooms are basically websites that will provide a live stream to a murder of a human being. Now, that may seem very vile, but there's no evidence to say that these red rooms exist. And I'm going to explain to you why they can't exist, technically speaking. So that the basic thing is that if you're going to live stream on the Tor relay, there's no way you're going to be able to do that, because the Tor relay has very slow internet connection speed, which we will see in the future videos. But basically the speed is so slow because the traffic is routed through the Tor relays. So you really can't live stream. Even at the lowest quality of video, it will be unplayable or unwatchable. So for that reason, red rooms aren't real, and there isn't evidence to support that. So the last one is that most of the sites are basically scary or malicious in nature. And that is absolutely not true, because if you look at the deep web through statistical analysis, you will see that about 60% of the websites on the deep web through an audit are more information driven websites. For example, 20% of the sites are blogs and forums. 40% of the sites have basically information and are carrying information on them. The other sites that we see, the malicious sites that, for example, are selling drugs and or counterfeiting money and legal documents, those are very few. I think about 3% of the time you will find them, and most of them aren't really malicious and are just fakes created by people to rob you of your money. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions or you have anything you want to ask me, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third class of the first section. And in this video, we're going to be looking at how Tor works, what Tor is and how it works. So basically, Tor is the relay of networks that we're going to be using to connect to the deep web or the dark net. Now, Tor basically means the onion router. So let's get started. So basically, let's understand how Tor works. So Tor is a proxy, a system, a series of proxies that is used to anonymize communication over the internet. Alright, so Tor, the Onion router, uses the Tor browser, which, as I said, is the tool that we're going to be using to browse the deep web or the darknet. So it encrypts data using the Onion routing system, which is basically a layer of proxies that will shield basically your traffic as you're browsing the deep web or darknet. Now, as you can see, this is you basically. You are the Tor client. Now, the Tor client is going to go through a node. All right. The first node is always going to be, it's going to be permanent. It's going to be the same node every time. I'll explain what a node means later. So basically, this is the entry guard, which is the first node. Now, the first node is going to communicate randomly to the second node. All right. Now, because of this randomization of the connectivity from the first to the second and to the third, that's why you're always going to have a unique and different IP address all the time. So it's going to communicate to the middle relay, which is the second node, which will then randomly choose the third node out of 1,000 nodes that Tor has. So basically what's happening here is your computer is going to connect to a node, the permanent, the primary, the first node on the Tor network, and then that one is going to randomly connect to one out of 1,000 other nodes, which is then going to connect to another one out of 1,000 nodes. So it's basically just randomizing your connection and shielding it through basically these different nodes under the different IP addresses. And finally, you reach the destination, which is basically the server on which the website you're visiting is hosted. So as you can see, there's actually a key here on this chart, the encrypted by Tor, which is the green line, which, as I mentioned over here. So once it reaches the exit relay, which is the third and final node, and when it's the information is traveling to and from the third node to the server on which the website you're visiting is hosted, that is actually not encrypted. So that really doesn't matter, because at this point the data being transferred has nothing related to you, except for one part which I will discuss in the anonymity section of this course later on. So basically that's how it works. I have one more image here that I want to just show you how it works. So basically as I said over here, it's going to have your computer. This is you right here. And basically you're going to connect to the first node. This node is going to randomly select another node, and that's going to select another random node. And then you have your exit node, which actually takes you to the website that you wanted to visit. So pretty simple to understand how Tor is doing this, and how it's shielding your information, and how it's keeping you anonymous on the deep web or the the darknet, excuse me. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions or you want to ask me anything, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thanks for watching. Hello everybody, and welcome to the fourth video in this first section. And in this video we're going to be looking at PGP, which basically is an encryption system that is used on the deep web, or actually is a very good encryption system that should be understood in order for you to communicate safely and securely across the deep web. So what does PGP mean? PGP basically stands for pretty good privacy. And that is a pretty good abbreviation, I must say. So let's get started. Getting started, let's understand what PGP is. So PGP, as I said, is pretty good encryption. It is a way to encrypt messages online, which I will get to in the future videos. So basically, it's used to encrypt email, texts, files, and more. And it is used on the deep web to share information that is sensitive or private. As I said before, it's a very good encryption service. It is the closest to military grade encryption. As I said, it's one of the best ways of encrypting data and sending it across the deep web, which is how it is done primarily. And I'm going to be showing you how to do that in the future videos later on in the course. So let's understand how it works in detail. So I have this very, very nice image here, and it's basically saying, how does PGP work? Forget about this GPG, that's just the opposite abbreviation. But basically, meet Sasha and John. Now, here we have Sasha, who wants to write a message to John, okay? And the message is, hello. So she encrypts the message with John's public key. So basically John has sent her his public key, and she has encrypted the message with the public key, and then she has sent the encrypted message through basically the deep web or the dark net, and John then receives the encrypted message or file and then decrypts it with his private key, which only he has, and only he can read the message then, which is hello. So it doesn't matter if the message is intercepted in the middle right here when it's being transferred across the deep web or the darknet. As long as he has his private key, he can access, he's the only one who can access the message that was or the files that were being sent to him. And as you can see, John reads the message, hello. So that's basically it for this video and this section, guys. This was basically the introduction to all that we're going to learn in this course. And in the next video, or in the next section, excuse me, we're going to actually go into setting up the basically the deep web environment. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second section of the course, where we'll be talking about setting up the most secure environment for the deep web. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why you shouldn't use Windows on the deep web. And I have very good reasons for this, not out of hate of the operating system, but basically because the operating system, as it says here, is the most popular operating system in the world. Therefore, it is likely to be the most targeted operating system by hackers in terms of its weaknesses. So basically, being the most popular operating system in the world, it's no shock that people will target it more in terms of producing malware for the operating system and trying to exploit users. So there are going to be increased vulnerabilities and exploits targeted at the operating system because of its vast user base. This is not to say that Windows isn't a good operating system. It's one of the best, if not the best operating system. It's just that it really doesn't perform well when it comes to the deep web and in terms of its of overall its security, really, and how secure the operating system is. Inherently, by design, Windows is less secure than any other operating system in terms of its in terms of how secure and stable the system is. Again, that's not to say that the Windows operating system is poor or is not a good operating system by any means. Almost all the world uses Windows, and and we have a lot of experts working on Windows, but really it doesn't perform well in terms of the deep web. So that's it for this video, guys. In the next video, we'll actually get started setting up setting up the environment, and I'm going to be helping you guys choose the correct operating system for the deep web. So I hope this video helped you guys. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments or in the Q&A section. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second video in this section. And today I'm going to be showing you how you can install Tor on Windows. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to sound controversial. As I said in the previous video, Windows is not a secure operating system, and it has a lot of flaws that will be targeted when on the deep web. I am making this video for anyone who wants to install Tor on Windows for whatever reason they deem fit. I have your best interest at heart, and I want you to be safe and secure when browsing the deep web. So I humbly advise you again to just refrain from using Windows on the deep web, just for the safety of your privacy, your anonymity, and of course the files that are going to be on your computer. But without further ado, let's get started. It's really very simple to install the Tor browser on Windows. All you have to do is just download the Tor project. All you have to do is install the Tor project, as I'm going to be showing you right now. So you basically have to just open a browser and just search for Tor browser. That's that. And you're going to click on the first link, Tor browser, and it's going to take you to the website. Very nice website. And all you have to do is hit download. Now, as you can see, they offer different languages. That's very, very nice. They offer French, and you can basically download the Tor browser for different operating systems. We have Microsoft Windows, macOS, and Linux, which we will be looking at in the next videos. So we're just going to be downloading the Windows version for now, which works with both 32-bit and 64-bit architectures. So just click this right here, and it should prompt you to save the file. I already have it downloaded, so I'm just going to go directly to that. So I have the file right here. This is the file that will be downloaded. A very, very nice icon of an onion that represents basically Tor, the onion browser. So just double click it just as you would any Windows program, and it's going to take you through the installation wizard, which is pretty much the default as you'll get with any other Windows program. Just hit OK, install, and kaboom, it's going to extract the folder to wherever this program you downloaded the program to. So let it just extract it. It's going to extract it to a folder called the Tor browser, which is right here on my desktop. And I'm just gonna hit run the Tor browser and just give it a few seconds to start up. Should start up immediately. There we are. So it's gonna give you this small little window right here, basically giving you some information. So before you connect to the Tor network, you need to provide information about this computer's internet connection. So which of the following best describes your situation? I would like to make a direct connection to the Tor network. This will work in most situations. Then this computer's internet connection is censored or proxied. So basically this is what you would basically be using, I'm guessing, on a default basis. If you're using this on maybe your office's or your school's computer, and the internet connection is proxied through a series of proxies, you can use this one. But we're going to be using the direct connection to the Tor network, and as it says, this will work in most situations. So just hit connect, and it basically should just start connecting to the Tor network. So it'll take a few seconds, hopefully. Shouldn't take longer than a minute. Again, this may be dependent on your internet connection, but it shouldn't take that much time at all. So just give it a few seconds, hopefully not longer than a minute, and we should be ready to go. Alright, so as you can see, it's opened the Tor browser window right here, and it's basically saying that we can adjust our security level. I'll be getting into this in future videos. We don't need that right now. What we need to do right now is actually confirm that it has connected to the Tor network and this browser is correctly configured. So the way we're going to do that is by just testing it using the check.torproject.org. I believe this is the website that will actually check whether you've connected to the Tor. And as you can see, congratulations, this browser is configured to use Tor, and your IP address appears to be 185.38.14.215. So that's basically it. You are successfully connected to the Tor network. You are successfully connected to the Tor network, and you should be able to get started immediately. So that's it for this video, guys. That's basically how to install Tor on a Windows computer. It'll work on any version of Windows. This is Windows 10, by the way, as you could probably already tell. That's basically it for this video. In the next video, we're actually going to be looking at how to basically configure Tor on some very, very good Linux distros that have been designed for browsing the deep web and anonymity. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video or found value in this video. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Goodbye. Hello everyone, and welcome to the third video in this section. And in this video, we're going to be looking at CubesOS and why it is probably the best option in terms of operating systems when browsing the deep web. Like literally, this is hands down the best thing or the best operating system that you can use when browsing the deep web. So I'm just going to go to the website right now. I already have it opened. The website is www.cubes/os.org. You can basically get it by just Google searching CubesOS with a Q, and it's going to be the first website up here. So you just want to open it, and it's a very, very nice website, as you can clearly see. And what's this right here? It says CubesOS, a reasonably secure operating system. Very, very convincing. But you might be asking yourself, what is CubesOS? And basically, CubesOS is a security-oriented operating system. Alright, now you might be asking, why is this the best option for Tor? Well, I'm just going to give you basically my point on why it's the best, and maybe Edward Snowden's advice right here. So if you're serious about security, CubesOS is the best OS available today. It's what I use and it's free. Now, for those of you who don't know who Edward Snowden is a whistleblower that is currently wanted by the United States for basically leaking information about the CIA, and he's currently wanted, right? And he communicates using this operating system right here, and that really is enough to tell you that this operating system is really secure. So let's get started on how to basically download and install this. So you just want to hit this very nice button right here, download and install, and voila, it's going to take you to this page right here, and you want to make sure you download the latest version. As of recording this video, the latest version is Cubes 3.2. I will be updating these videos as newer versions get released. So basically you want to download, you have two options. You have your ISO version and you have the torrent version of the download, which essentially are both the same. The torrent button right here is just for basically downloading the ISO through torrents. I'm just going to click on ISO, and that's what I recommend you guys would do. It's quite a large file, and by the way, this operating system when installed is quite large as well. So I'm just going to hit download, and I already have it downloaded, and we're just going to get started like so. So you guys might be asking, how do I get it installed? Well, that's much. You have two ways of going about it. You can either install it on your USB flash drive and then boot it from your computer, and then install it on maybe install it on another hard drive that you have around, or you could dual boot it with Windows, or you could basically run it on a virtual machine. But basically that's really very simple. If you're focused on installing it on a USB flash drive, this is how you would go about it. So basically I'm just going to go to the installation guide, and you want to go into the basically go down here into the copying the ISO onto the installation medium section right here, and it's going to tell you that you have to use the Rufus tool. That's basically, I think, how you pronounce it. Rufus is basically a program that will allow you to create a bootable USB drive the easy way, as it claims on the website. So just download that right here. I'm just going to download this one right here. It's a very small file, 932 kilobytes. Just going to download it, and it should be done right now, and I'm going to run it. Hopefully it opens up right now. So there we are. Just accept the permission to run it. And do I want to check for updates? No, I really don't need that right now. So just let it run, and it should open up right now. All right. So basically what you're going to need is a flash drive, preferably I think 16 gigabytes and above. All right. Now, if you don't have a flash drive of that size, I'm going to show you an alternative way of running CubesOS, and that's through virtualization, which is, I think, one of the best ways of going about it. But nothing can beat the good old USB installation way. So basically you select your USB drive right here. Just make sure you select it. I have a 7.8 gigabyte drive in right now. I don't have a 16 gigabyte flash drive plugged in. I do have one, but I don't have it plugged in. You then want to go to this partition scheme and target system type. Just leave that as it is. File system NTFS. Just select the FAT32 default. You want to just select the default cluster size, and you want to give it a volume. I'm just going to call it cubes. This is what you would basically do. You then want to go down here and select ISO image, and then you want to browse onto where you downloaded your CubesOS ISO file, which is right here. Mine is on the desktop. You just have to go to wherever you saved yours, and I'm going to select mine, and it's going to open. And basically just make sure quick format is enabled and create bootable disk is enabled. All right. Yeah, you can untick this if you don't want an extended label or icon files, and basically just start the installation process. Once this is done, just power off your computer and then boot. You want to boot up into your BIOS mode and select boot from USB flash drive. I'm sure plenty of you guys know how to do that, and just select the flash drive and it should boot up CubesOS, and it should take you through the installation section, which I will get to in a few moments. So what I'm going to do is I am going to basically virtualize this. Now I can go about this by basically downloading a virtualization software. I'm going to be using VMware for this demonstration. So just Google VMware and you want to click on the first link. By the way, this is a free software to download and to use. And just let the website load, and you want to go into, excuse me, I don't know what's up with the website. All right, so you want to go into the download section and you want to go into workstation player. All right, so you want to just go into the workstation player and download this one right here. Just download it. I already have it downloaded and installed. It's very simple installation to go through. And once you have it installed, just open it up right here. So we have VMware Workstation 12 player. That's the latest version as of recording this video. Alrighty. Now, once it opens, we want to basically go into this section right here. Create a new virtual machine. Alright. So now we want to make sure we select installer disk image file. This has to be an ISO file as it says here. And we're going to say just browse where you saved the ISO file or where you downloaded it. Again, mine is on the desktop. I'm going to click on it and open it. And it's going to give you a warning. Could not detect which operating system is in the disk image. No problemo there. We're just going to hit next. And we're basically going to select guest operating system as Linux because CubesOS is based off Linux. And you want to make sure you select Fedora 64-bit because that is what CubesOS is based off. It's based off Fedora. If your computer is 32-bit, just select Fedora. If it's 64-bit, select Fedora 64-bit and hit next. You want to give it a name. I'm going to call mine CubesOS, and you want to give it, you just want to browse into a directory where you want to save the files that will be associated with this virtual machine. I'm going to be saving mine in my virtual OS folder. You can save yours wherever. It recommends the documents and you can do that. That's fine. Just hit OK and hit next. Now it's going to ask you for the specify the disk capacity. I will recommend 30 gigabytes, and this may come as a shock to you, but it's true. This operating system is huge, and because it has a lot of features really. So I'm just going to select a maximum disk size of 30 gigabytes. Don't worry if it says recommended size for Fedora. I'm going to store it in a single file. I don't want it to be split into multiple files. Just hit next. You now want to customize your hardware. I'm going to customize my hardware right now. And I'm going to basically give it a memory, which is RAM. I'm going to give it a RAM of 2048 megabytes, which is 2 gigabytes right here. And you can basically just move the slider yourself really. You then have your processor section. Now this depends on what hardware you have. If you have a processor that has only 2 cores, you can basically give 1 core. My processor has 4 cores, so I'm going to give 2 cores. And you don't need to touch anything else right here. You now want to go down into your display section and make sure that accelerate 3D graphics is checked. And you want to basically select your graphics memory. Depending on your graphics card, I would recommend globally 128 megabytes. If it gives you an error, just select 64 megabytes depending on what graphics card your computer has. My graphics card has 2 gigabytes dedicated. That's why it's giving me 768 recommended, but I'm just going to stick with 128 megabytes because anything over that is overkill really. So I'm just going to hit close, and we can basically say finish. All right. So it's going to give us this very nice section here called CubesOS, which is what we created. And looks like it did not actually create a RAM of 2 gigabytes. So I'm just going to move it to the 2 gigabyte section there, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to start the virtual machine, and it should just start immediately. So there we are, VMware, and it's going to open CubesOS. So if you see this screen, everything that we've done so far has worked flawlessly. So just let's go up. The selection will be highlighted by white text. I don't want to test the media. I'm just going to say install cubes, the first option, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to basically start the installation process. I mean the startup process really. And let this run. This probably take a few seconds or up to a minute to start up. Alrighty, so once it's started up, it should give you this welcome screen right here, the installation welcome screen, and it's going to be telling you welcome to Cubes R3.2 as of this recording. Again, this is the latest version right now, and it's going to ask you what language you would like to run through during the installation process. I would like to use English and English United States. That's what I would really enjoy and I would find comfortable. Feel free to use any other language right here. I'm going to hit continue, and it probably should take a few seconds and we can proceed then. Alright, so it's going to give you this very nice looking mini menu, which is actually quite professional, I must say. It has reminiscence of Red Hat Linux and very top drawer Linux distros. And basically it's very simple to get started with the installation. You want to select, it's divided into sections. You have localization, software, and system. So let's start off with localization. We've basically configured everything right now. So you want to select what keyboard layout you want to use. I'm going to be using English US. You can add another one right here. That's basically good enough for me. What language support you would like to use. Again, we've already selected that, but if you want to feel like you want to add some more, you can add them right here. For example, English India, English Australia. For now, I'm just going to keep mine to English United States. Again, you can do whatever you want really. You then want to go into time and date and configure it according to what time zone you are in. You can also configure the date. You can also configure the AM PM system to show the AM PM system, and you can also enable the 24-hour clock, which I like, so I'm going to leave it at that. You can then now move on to the software section and the installation source. We already have configured this, so we really don't need to touch on that. You then want to go into the software selection. Now in the software selection, it's going to be using the XFCE desktop environment. Now for those of you who are already familiar with the Linux desktop environments, the XFCE, as you know, is a very good desktop environment, and you will be able to change that once it's installed. But for those of you who are not familiar with this, don't worry about any of this. Just don't touch anything right here. Just leave all of this and just hit done. And the last section is the installation destination. Basically just selecting the disk that you want to use. Now we created the 30 gigabyte virtual disk, or the VMware virtual disk. Just select it, and you're going to add the disk and just hit done and just select this disk, and you want to scroll down here into encryption. Now if you're going to be using VMware or a virtual machine, disable encrypt my data, because this will cause a lot of problems and you won't be able to boot into the operating system once installed. So again, I'm saying just uncheck this. However, if you're installing this through USB you're installing this on a physical drive, or you're dual booting it with Windows, the installation process is is the same thing. You can basically then encrypt my data. You don't need to uncheck this. But if you're running through the installation as I am now, you just want to make sure you just disable encrypt my data. Once done, just hit done, and you should be good to go. Now again, if you're doing this the hardware way, which is basically installing it on another hard drive, you can basically just select the disk right here and just hit automatically configure partitioning. Or if you're experienced enough to do it, you could go into I will configure the partitioning, which I would not recommend for beginners. But if you're doing this the virtual way, which is what I'm doing now, just hit done, and you should be good to proceed. Just hit begin installation, and it should basically start the installation. The installation will take quite a while, so I'll get back to you guys when it's done. Alright, so once the installation is complete, it'll take a while, by the way. It took about 30 minutes for me, and I'm sure it's taken about the same time for you. It's basically going to say reboot. Now, if you have not basically set your user creation right here, this will not be grayed out. So just go ahead and click it and enter your username and your password. And once that's done, you can basically just hit reboot right here, and that will basically reboot it, and you'll be able to use CubesOS. Now in the next video, I'm going to be showing you basically how you can configure Tor on CubesOS and how to basically get access to the deep web straight out of the box. And I'm also going to be explaining how to use CubesOS a little bit, because it is quite a different type of operating system and it works in a very different way. Even for Linux users, this will be, it has a learning curve that I will help you to get familiarized with. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to install and configure Tails OS for browsing the deep web or the darknet. So you might be asking yourself, what is Tails? Well, let's find out together. So what we're going to do is just going to open your browser. Any browser is fine. And we're basically just going to give it a search, Tails OS, as simple as that. And hopefully it gives us the website, and it does. Tails, privacy for anyone, anywhere. So let's click on that and let's see what it has to offer us. Now, let's see what it says. The website is very, very simple, very well designed. But let's see what they have to say. Tails is a live operating system that you can start on almost any computer from a DVD, USB stick, or SD card. It aims at preserving your privacy and anonymity and helps you to use the internet anonymously and circumvent censorship. All connections to the internet are forced to go through the Tor network. Leave no trace on the computer you're using unless you ask it explicitly. Use state-of-the-art cryptographic tools to encrypt your files, emails, and instant messaging. So straight off the bat, this is doing everything that we really need it to do when it comes to browsing the deep web or the dark net. It's allowing us to use the internet anonymously, and that's basically just circumventing censorship. Secondly, we know that all connections are driven through the Tor network, so that's just peace of mind from the ground up, really. It leaves no trace on the computer. Basically, Tails OS is a live operating system. Now, if you don't know what a live operating system is, it basically works once. It doesn't save anything that you do on it, and it basically wipes whatever you've done. So it's almost like it just does everything for you. It cleans anything that you may have done, all the history, anything downloaded. It basically just wipes everything. It then uses state-of-the-art cryptographic tools, for example, PGP, which we discussed earlier, to encrypt files, emails, and instant messaging, which we will look into in the next video. Now, let's actually get started on installing it. So it's very, very simple. Just hit install Tails 2.12. So let's just hit install that, and I'm just going to click right here, download only. We really don't need the installation assistant because that's why I'm here. So you can download the ISO image, which is basically the single file containing the whole operating system. So they also want you to verify your download. So they're basically going to give you two techniques to do this verification. You can download the ISO image via Firefox add-on. The add-on verifies your download automatically. So let's just install the Firefox add-on. No, not really. So you can download it with a torrent. If this is if you really don't want to go through the Firefox add-on and maybe you're using Google Chrome, we can just go back and we can use this guide here, and I know that this will just basically bypass everything. Now, which operating system are you installing Tails from? So if you're installing it from Mac, just select Mac. If you're installing it from a Linux distro, select that. If you're installing it from Debian, Ubuntu, or Mint, which are the three most popular Linux distros, you can select that. Or if you're using Windows, which is what I'm using, just hit Windows. So once you've selected Windows, it's going to ask you, are you installing from another Tails OS? No, we're installing it freshly. So we're going to go with this one, download and install. So let's hit install from Windows. Now, Don't worry about basically this section here asking you what you will need, basically saying 2 USB sticks. You really don't need 2 USB sticks. I'm just basically going to show you the simplest way of doing this. So you can hit let's go. Alright, and basically you can download and verify the Tails OS operating system, the ISO file. So you can actually do that through the Firefox add-on as I mentioned earlier, or you can do it through BitTorrent. I would recommend doing it through BitTorrent, or if you want to, you can basically just hit the you can basically install the Firefox add-on right here. Just allow it. Or if you're using Chrome, it will ask you to install the Chrome add-on. Just install it and hit OK. And it's going to say download Tails 2.12. That's the latest version as of this recording, and just hit download. I already have downloaded, so I don't really need to download it. So let's get started on installing it. Now, as I said, this operating system is a live operating system, which means that once you're done using it, it'll basically wipe everything once you shut down the operating system. So there are really two ways you can go about using this operating system. Number one, you can install it on a USB flash drive, and then number two, you can virtualize it, which is what I recommend for you guys, because there's really no point booting up into your flash drive, then using it and then wiping it. Although it is very good to carry around a Tails USB flash drive. For example, if you're at school and you basically want to browse the deep web, all you have to do is carry your USB flash drive that has Tails OS installed on it, and you can go to school, just plug it in, boot from it, do whatever you want to do with it, and just shut down, and it's going to wipe everything and you're good to go. But if you really want to enjoy deep web browsing, and as I must say, Tails OS works better than Cube's OS when virtualized, and I'm going to show you that right now. So if you want to install it on a USB flash disk, it's really very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to basically download, you want to just go down here, install intermediary Tails, and you want to download the universal USB installer, which is also one of my personal favorites. Just download it. It's 1.7 megabytes, really not that big. So it's downloaded. Let's run it and let's see what it gives us. And there we are, USB installer. Just hit I agree, and as you can see, it's a portable version. That means you don't really need to install anything. So basically, it's going to say select a distribution from the drop down to put on your USB. We're going to select just go down into live antivirus. You want to go into here we are. That's it. Sorry about that, guys. They really have changed the sectioning of the operating systems. There's so many Linux distros, so you want to basically just go into other distros that are sorted alphabetically and look for Tails. Once you find Tails, just select it, and now you want to browse to where you downloaded your ISO file. Mine is in my download section. It's in a folder, and here it is, the Tails 2.12 as of this recording. So I'm going to hit open, and then I'm going to select the letter of my USB drive. By the way, Tails is a very small operating system. You can even install it on a 4 GB flash drive, and you're pretty much good to go. So you can select your flash drive. I here have a 7 GB or 8 GB flash drive, and you want to format it as a FAT32. Alright. Once you click that, just hit create, and you're good. Once that's done, just power off your computer and then boot up with the USB plugged in, and then boot from your USB drive, and it should be as simple as cake. So let's look at basically how to start it up. There is really no installation process. It's just a live operating system. You just start it and you're good. So again, we are going to be using our VMware virtualization software, or VMware Workstation 12. I showed you how to install it in the previous video and where to download it from, so you can refer back to that. So you have it installed. Just let's run it, and let's get started basically running Tails OS. So we're going to create a new virtual machine, and we're going to hit installer disk image. We're using an ISO file, and we're going to select Tails ISO file, and it's going to again tell you could not detect which operating system is in the disk image. Don't worry about that. Make sure it's using Linux, and now you want to make sure that you're using other Linux 2.6 kernel, or that's if you're using a 32-bit computer. If you're using a 64-bit computer, make sure you select other Linux 2.6 kernel 64-bit, which is what I'm using, and that's what I'm going to select. Now next, you want to basically just give it a name. I'm going to give it Tails. It's really not going to save any files, so you can basically just store the files anywhere you want. I'm still going to store them in my virtual OS files. I'm just going to give it its own folder, Tails. There we are. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit next. It's really not going to save anything, and here we are. Specify disk capacity. As I said, it's not going to save anything much, only the files you're going to be downloading there. So you might want to give it a bit of space. Basically I would recommend about 2 gigabytes really. So 2 gigabytes, and we're going to store it in as a single file, and hit next, and we're going to customize the hardware. The hardware would still, I think, just keep it at 2 gigabytes for RAM. Processors, that again depends on your hardware. I'm going to keep mine at 2. If you have 2 cores, you can keep it at 1, whatever you feel comfortable with really. You then want to go to, we're just going to close it, and we're going to hit finish, and we are finally going to start the virtual machine, the Tails OS, and there we are. Alright, so it's already booted up. As I said, it's very, very fast, and it works fantastic with virtual machines. Just hit enter on Tails, and it should begin booting up. Don't worry about what it's doing right now. This is basically the startup. What I'm going to do is, let me just maximize the screen right now so we can actually see what's happening. It's going to take a few seconds to start up, and hopefully it gives us something that we can work with. Overall, and in my opinion, I would recommend Tails OS for you as a beginner. You can move on to Cubes OS once you're advanced, and you basically, when you appreciate the security features that Cubes OS provides. Cubes OS is a very good operating system, no doubt, but it's kind of overwhelming for the beginner, and it really just takes away the main objective of why we are actually doing this, which is actually to get access to the deep web. Cubes OS is basically focused on overall complete security and anonymity. Tails OS is focused on each and every section of that, including anonymity and cryptography, but it just does it in a way that's so seamless. So here we are. Welcome to Tails. As I said, it's going to work faster, and you don't have to install it. So it's going to ask you more options. I recommend that you click on yes, all right, and hit forward. And it's going to ask you for an administration password. This is useful if you're going to be using the root commands, the sudo. For those of you who are familiar with Linux, know that the sudo command is basically for performing tasks in root. So you then have your MAC address spoofing. Your MAC address spoofing is basically it's going to basically hide the serial number of your network cards and change them. This will help you in anonymity, and as it says here, it will help you hide your geographical location. Again, very important. Make sure it's checked. It should be grayed. That means it's selected. You then want to scroll down onto your network configuration. Now, this is basically what we found earlier in the earlier videos with Tor. If you're not running through proxies, the first option is the best way to go. If you are running through proxies, you want to select the second one. All right. So once you've selected all the settings, I'm not going to use a root password because I'm not going to be doing anything regarding root commands or sudo commands. So I'm just going to hit login, and it's going to log me in. Hopefully it does this really quickly. So as you can already see, it's a very, very seamless operation. No installation whatsoever. Very simple configuration at the beginning, and you can basically enter an administrator password very, very easily. And here we are. Basically that's it. You're already into Tails OS, and we can get started immediately. But there are a few things that we have to go through before we basically proceed. And we're going to look at that in the next video, where I will be configuring Tails OS with you guys, so we can actually get started browsing the deep web or the dark net on Tails OS. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching. Hello everyone and welcome back to the course. And in this video, we're going to be looking at basically configuring Tails OS for basically Tor and the DeepvWeb or the darknet as it's called. Now, some of you guys may not be very comfortable or used to Tails OS, and I assure you it's very easy in fact to use. You basically have your toolbar right up here, and this has your application launcher, and it has your places, which is basically where your files are, your file browser. As you can see, it has your computer. You can browse files on your network. You then have your keyboard, your virtual keyboard. You have your clipboard. You then have something here called the onion circuits, which I'll get to in a minute. You then have your accessibility settings, your language settings, and you have your time and date. You have your connection settings with your sound settings, and you can basically log off, suspend, or shut down the system. Now, Tails OS already comes pre-installed with Tor, and as it said on the website, all connections are passed through the Tor relays or the Tor network. And how this is done is through the use of the onion circuits that are currently in place. As it will show you here, these are the current onion circuits that it's going to use, and it'll basically give you information about it and the bandwidth, and you can basically just customize a lot of stuff here, a lot of advanced things, but for now don't really get into it. So as I said, straight out of the box, it's going to come with the Tor browser. But before we do that, if you guys are having trouble with changing the resolution of the operating system through the virtual machine, let me just show you how to do that. So you want to go down into system tools and settings. Once you're in the settings menu, let it just takes a few seconds to start up. You want to go into hardware and display. Alright, once you open display, just select the first one. It's going to say unknown display. That's because you're in a virtual machine. If you're running this through a USB flash drive and you've booted this up as sort of a dual boot, you really don't have to go through this because it's probably already using your native resolution. But if you're doing this to a virtual machine, just click on this display here, and you want to basically select a resolution that you are comfortable with. I find that 1280 by 1024 is perfect for me. I'm going to apply that, and I'm just going to say keep changes, and there we are. Works perfectly for me. I'm going to close that. And you can basically get started on configuring Tor, which is really very simple. All we're going to do is just hit Tor browser and just let it start up. It's going to take a few seconds. Just give it its time to continue, and you can basically just let it start up, and I can basically explain a bit more about this onion circuits as it opens up. So I'm just going to move this to the side right here. And hopefully we can minimize that. Let's just minimize that right there. Now, basically once Tor starts, which it has right here, I'm just going to minimize that. So Tor has started, and I'm just going to basically show you that it works straight out of the box by running the URL that we did in the previous video, which is basically the check.torproject.org, which is down there, and this is basically going to check whether we are connected to the Tor network, which honestly speaking I think we should, considering we're running this on Tails. Just give it a few seconds. It probably is checking for the appropriate onion circuit to use, and voila, as you can see, congratulations, this browser is configured to use Tor. And that's basically it for Tails. It can't get much easier than that, and that's why I recommend this for beginners and people who really don't want to go through all the installation process and all of the complex stuff that CubesOS will basically force you to go through. CubesOS is a good operating system, but Tails is just much better, and it wins in simplicity. So that's basically it for Tails OS. And in the next video, we're going to be basically looking at a few privacy options that we can configure within Tor. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section of the video. Goodbye. Hello everyone, and in this video I'm actually going to be showing you how to install any Linux distro that you want to be using for these for basically browsing the deep web, and how to configure it with Tor. So you guys might be asking, what about Tails OS and Cubes OS? Well, those are security based operating systems, but maybe you want to install a Linux distro of your choice, maybe that one you enjoy using, or maybe you're just curious about Linux and this could be a starting point for you to actually use Linux for more than just browsing the deep web. So let's basically have a look at a list of some Linux distros. So basically, for beginners or for those of you who don't know what a Linux distro is, a Linux distro is basically a Linux distribution. Now, Linux is open source, that means it's free. However, we do have other variations like Red Hat Linux, which require subscriptions because they are maintained and provide basically they provide support whenever you need it. Now, when it comes to Linux distributions, it's basically like different versions of Linux themed and styled in their own way. So for example, we can have a look at Elementary OS, which is one of very visual Linux distros. Basically, it's going to just replace Windows and macOS in terms of the user interface. It is Linux after all, and it's a really good looking operating system. So for those of you who are keen on using Elementary OS because of how it looks, it's basically one of the best, if not the best distros right now in terms of user interface and how good it looks, because you can see it really good looking windows and the taskbar right there. You can basically pay what you want, or you can just enter a custom amount, hit $0 and just download it for free. As I said, it's all free, and there's some testimonials here. But for this video, and what I recommend for you, is to use Ubuntu. And the reason I'm saying Ubuntu is because, first of all, it's the best Linux distro in terms of stability and solidity. So let me just open Ubuntu. I know most of you have already heard of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is basically the leading operating system for PCs, and it's basically running even on phones. Basically it controls the market share for Linux on laptops. Of course, Linux is not very big on desktops. But that's basically it. Now, if you're interested in looking at other distros, you could go to a site called distrowatch.com, which is basically a site that will give you information about any distro that you want. So you can search for a distribution, you can select one. As you can see, there are so many right here. You can just basically choose anything that you want. For this tutorial, you can use any. You can use Ubuntu, you can use Elementary OS, you can use Debian, you can use Fedora, whatever suits you well. So this site basically has news on the latest versions of distros that are released. So you have right here, you have package hit rating. These are basically the distros that are the most downloaded. You have Linux Mint, Debian, Manjaro, Ubuntu, or people actually call this Manjaro. I would actually recommend this for you, but the installation is, if you're not used to using the different types of Linux distros, I would not recommend it, because it's going to be slightly different when it comes to installation. Otherwise, overall a very good operating system. But as I said, for this video, we're basically going to be looking at Ubuntu. So let's just go to the Ubuntu site right here. It's ubuntu.com, and you want to go into desktop. Just hit desktop, and you want to just say download Ubuntu, and it's going to give you the versions. Right now the latest version is 17.04. It's not the most stable. The most stable right now is 16.04.2, which I would recommend for you, but there's no real big difference between these two. So you can basically just download the 17.04 as of this recording, and again, you don't need to pay anything. Or if you want to support the project. I'm just gonna make it 0, and once that's done, you can continue the download. And once you reach here, the installation guide, I'll basically show you how to do it. So just hit download now, and it should start downloading the ISO file. So there we are, and that's basically it. If you're looking for a 32-bit ISO, I believe right now the only 32-bit ISO is for 16.04.2. So let's just download that, and let me show you that you can actually select, I think, a 32-bit operating system. Let's hit continue. Or if it does not give you the 32-bit ISO, you can basically just go into downloads and go into Ubuntu desktop. Alright, and you can basically see if you can basically go to alternative downloads, and you can download, go down here, and basically here you have the Ubuntu 32-bit and the Ubuntu 16 32-bit and 14 32-bit. So whatever your system architecture is, they've got you covered. So once you've downloaded the ISO, I already have it downloaded. We have to download the universal USB installer. That's for those of you who want to dual boot Ubuntu, or maybe just want to try it out and see how it works. So you can just basically go to the first link here, universal USB installer. We used it in the previous videos. It's one of the best USB installers. So just scroll down to download universal USB installer, save the file. It's already downloaded, hopefully. My internet connection today is quite slow. I don't know why it's taking so much time. Alright, there we are. It's downloaded. Let it just run the setup. Alright, so now we can actually get started. So my Linux distro is right up here. It's the 64-bit version of 17.04 Ubuntu, and hit agree. And this basically will work for any distro that you choose to use. You can use Ubuntu, you can use Linux Mint, you can use Debian, you can use the Linux distros for kids, or you can basically select one from the other distros sorted in alphabetical order. There are a lot of Linux distros you can choose from. But for this video, we're going to be using Ubuntu, and I'm going to browse to where I stored my ISO, where I downloaded my ISO, which is on my desktop, and it's right here. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to open it. Once I've opened it, I basically select my flash drive. I think an 8GB flash drive would be enough to install bootable, to basically create the bootable flash drive. Just hit your flash drive and format it as FAT32. You then can provide a persistent file. This is basically if you just want to run Ubuntu off the flash drive and you don't want to install it. So this file will allow you, this is basically like reserved memory on the flash drive, which will be treated as actual storage, so you can actually store things on the USB drive as part of the operating system. We're not going to do anything like that now, and just hit create, and it should take a few minutes. And once it's done, turn off your computer, plug in your flash drive, turn on your computer, go into your BIOS and select boot from USB drive, and the installation will be the same as I will show you right now through the virtual machine. So let's use the virtual machine. We're going to be using VMware Workstation 12 player. Just open it up, and it should open up immediately. And we're going to create a new virtual machine, and we're going to use the installer disk ISO. This should be pretty familiar with you right now. Hopefully it is, if you have been following the other videos. So basically you have Ubuntu 17.04. That's the ISO file I downloaded. So basically it's going to detect Ubuntu because it's very it's a very reputable operating system. So let's hit next. And we want to personalize the Linux. So they've basically made it so much easier for you to do it. So I'm just going to use my name. Right there. My username is going to be the same thing. My password is just going to create a custom password. There we are. And you can basically leave it blank if you don't want a password. I'm going to hit next. You've entered an invalid username. A username, oh yes, sorry about that. The username has to be in lowercase. So I'm just going to use a lowercase there and hit next. Now again, we have to save the file somewhere. I'm going to save mine in my virtual OS folder. I'm going to hit OK. Ubuntu 64-bit, that's fine as a name. Hit next. Don't worry if it says anything here, just hit continue. Recommended size for Ubuntu 20GB. Again, you can increase it to how much you deem fit. Just hit next, and I'm going to store it as a single disk, as a single file. Alright, now we want to customize the hardware. So I'm going to open the customize hardware section, and again memory, I will just stick to 2GB of RAM. You want to look at processors, we basically select, I'm going to select 2 cores. You can select as many as you feel comfortable. Again, you should be already familiar with the settings you should apply here. Then all I'm going to do is hit close and finish. This will be pretty much the simplest thing you can ever do. So in the next video, we'll actually get to installing the operating system, so we can basically configure it for Tor browsing. So thank you for watching this video. Bye bye. Alrighty, so once you have created the virtual machine for Ubuntu, which is right here, you basically just want to hit play, and let's get started with the installation. Now, the reason I said we should use VMware Workstation is because it makes the Ubuntu installation a hell of a lot easier, and you'll see that right now. So basically, let it just start up right here. Let me just maximize the screen, as you can see, it's already opened it in the full screen. So let's keep it that way. And as I was saying, VMware basically will do all the hard work for installing it, in terms of installing it for you. So just let it start up, and the installation process should be a breeze. Alright, so it looks like we have actually got onto the startup. Basically, I think it's just gonna start the configuration. As you can see right here, it's loaded up Ubuntu, and it's gonna start the installation. It's gonna start verifying installation configuration. Don't worry about this if you're a beginner. You just let it do what it needs to do. He's gonna start creating a file system in the virtual hard drive that we created, the 20 gigabyte hard drive. Again, you could have used an additional amount of space. So basically, it started the installation process. As you can see, it's saying copying files, and you can basically browse through this little feature window here that Ubuntu gives us. It basically includes the rhythm box, music player. So in all essence, Ubuntu is, I think, a very, very good, complete operating system. It can do really anything you can do on Windows. The only thing that Linux lacks at the end of the day is software support. Other than that, I think it's better than Windows, hands down. I use Linux for my main work in terms of programming and development, but yeah, it's overall Ubuntu, I think, is going to serve you well if you choose to use this for browsing the deep web, and you can really configure everything or tailor everything to your specification according to how you like it. So let this install, and I'll get back to you when it's done. Alrighty, so once the installation is completed, I basically, once it was installing, it'll basically just all go through the installation process without it needing any interaction from you, and it's basically gonna restart. And if you're running this on your main computer, the installation process will be very, very similar, and again, it'll reboot into Ubuntu. And if you created you created a username with a password, you can enter it, otherwise it'll just log you straight in. I had a password, so I've entered it, and it's logging me in right now. So I'm just going to be taking you over the basic interface of Ubuntu and how to basically download and install Tor and make sure that it's working. So just let it log me in. This is the first time I'm logging in on the system. So just let it load up, and we should be good to go. Alright, here we are. We're on the Ubuntu desktop. If it's going to give you some of these this weird resolution, if you're running it on a virtual machine, just go into the system settings icon right here. Just open it up. Shouldn't take that long to open up, and you want to go into hardware and displays. Again, we have to just change the resolution to something we find appropriate. I find that to be the most appropriate for me. I'm just going to hit apply, and there we are. So it's applied the resolution that I feel comfortable. And now basically this is very, very similar to how Windows works. You have your toolbar or taskbar up here, and this is your app launcher, or your launcher as it's called in Ubuntu. This is basically like your start button, and you can search for apps, and it's going to show you your applications that are currently installed, and you can basically search. For example, if I search for Firefox, it's gonna show up as Firefox. Excuse me, the resolution has changed again. Let me just open that up and let me just configure that right now. I'm just going to go into displays. Let me just configure it back to what I had set it as and apply. And let's close that. Keep this configuration. Sorry, I had to keep the configuration. Alright, so as I said, this is your start menu, and you can search for applications that are installed. Now, for us to install the Tor browser, all you have to do is open Firefox. It will come pre-installed. Make sure you're connected to the internet. I'm connected through the virtual machine. Just open Firefox and just search for Tor browser. You have other applications here, like you have the LibreOffice. You have your file manager, so you can really just customize your files very easily. As I said, it's very, very similar to Windows and Mac OS in terms of user interface. You have your downloads folder. Let's just close that. So basically search for the Tor browser and hit the first one, the Tor browser, on the first link, and you want to hit download the Tor browser. It will all automatically detect that you're using Linux. Now, you're going to go into the Linux section, and if you're running a 32-bit version of Ubuntu or any other Linux distro, make sure you hit this here. If you're running 64-bit, just hit that. I'm using 64-bit, so I'm just going to hit 64-bit right here, and it's going to basically save the file and let that download. Shouldn't take that long. So while it's downloading, let me actually just show you a few other things that might come in handy. So one of the tools that I'm going to be using in future videos to basically be configuring Ubuntu or any other Linux terminal for security, and basically making the entire system run through the Tor proxy or the Tor connection, is we're going to be using the terminal. The terminal, don't be afraid by the terminal. We're not going to be doing anything complex. We're just going to be editing a few configuration files here and there. So that's basically the terminal file, and that's about all the tools that you needed to do. If you want to customize your wallpaper, you can just right click and go to change background. Again, this is for beginners at Linux, and those of you who are not very confident using it. There's some very good wallpapers you can select from here. You have this forest one right here. Some very, very good wallpapers. Again, you can download your own wallpapers and change them according to what you want, but that's for another video. I'm just going to select the default one, and let's open Tor browser, and the download should be completed. Alright, so once that's done, just close the Tor browser, and you want to go into your files. Alright, now in the file section, you want to go into your downloads section, and you'll see Tor browser with a tar.xz extension. Don't worry about this, just right click and hit extract here. Alright, so let it extract. It's going to extract the archive, and it should just take a few seconds, as you're seeing right here. Alright, so once it's finished extracting the archived file, the Tor file, just hit close, and you can open the folder Tor browser English US, and you can just hit this little section here, Tor browser setup. Just double click that, and it should automatically configure and start Tor for you. So there we are. Very, very similar to the Windows section. It's going to ask you to use they're going to ask you which connection type you're using. If you're using a connection that is proxied, you can configure it through here and then connect. I'm using a direct connection, and I'm guessing you guys are too. So I'm going to hit connect, and it's going to start establishing a connection through the Tor network. So it's loading the relay information, and again does it really, really fast. So there we are. Should have started the Tor browser up, and we should be good to go. So let me just close that. So let's check again. Check.tor project.org, and it's going to check if the browser is correctly configured, and voila. As you may have noticed, using Linux or Ubuntu is much faster, and I would recommend, if you're thinking about virtualization, I would recommend either Tails or Ubuntu. But the good thing with Ubuntu is that it's a full operating system, meaning you can use it for day-to-day activities such as browsing the web, the clear web. You can basically write Word documents, you can perform graphical tasks, and it's just a wonderful operating system. So that's it for this video, guys, and that's it for this section. In the next section of the course, we're going to be looking at how to basically configure Tor for maximum security, and I'm just going to show you how to utilize Tor when accessing the deep web. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section of the course, and I'll see you there. Hello everyone, welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the nuances of the deep web or the darknet, and basically what are the differences between the deep web and the clear web, really. So basically on the deep web, I think the most important difference is the fact that the addresses on the deep web, the URLs on the deep web, are in onion formats. Now I can basically show you that by going to the hidden wiki, the hidden wiki. Let me just search for that. You can do it too. And basically, the simple fact is that the URLs end with a .onion, a .onion extension. And I'm going to show you that right now. Like for example, duckduckgo.com is an example of a clear web website that ends in a .com, .net, or a .org. Those are basically simple. These are basically clear, an example of how URLs appear on the clear web. Now on the deep web or the darknet for that matter, the URLs will appear slightly differently. Let me just try and open the hidden wiki. It's taking quite a bit of time. Let me just check on this other site. Now while that is loading, I want to actually also tell you that when searching the darknet, especially the search engines like Google, Bing, and maybe a few others that you may be using, I don't know why you would not be using anything but Google, but Google will not work and will not index anything really important from that. It will not index anything from the darknet. It's only going to index all the stuff from the clear web. So basically, in the next videos, I'm actually going to be showing you some really good deep web or darknet search engines that will basically index all the websites on the darknet and give you some very good results. Now back to what I was explaining you guys about the extension or the URL extension. So here are examples of website URLs on the deep web. So you basically have the HTTP / and then the name of the website in a code format. So you'll not find a website with the name right there, but an idea, basically a combination of letters will be given that will make sense to the title of the website. But I'll get into that later. Now, as you can see, it's a .onion, and if I just open this in a new tab right here, let's see whether some of these sites actually work. So basically, site discontinued due to bad use. Alright, let's try and open something else. We can try the Torch search engine, which is not the best. I will be reviewing others. Alright, so basically this is an example of a good search engine, not the best, that can basically index websites on the darknet or the deep web. So let's basically search for let's see ebooks. Let's see what site it's going to return. So as you can see, it's going to return archive of ebooks, print ready. You have Marxist Internet Archive of ebook collection. You have some forum returns here. So overall, a very good search engine, but it's not the best. I'll be getting into others soon. So yeah, that's basically it for this video, guys. This video is basically just explaining the nuances of the deep web and what's different from what you are expecting, you're expecting to find or on basic functionality. But that's it for this video. If you found this, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of this video. Hello everyone, and welcome to this section. And in this section, we are basically going to be looking at Tor and some of its security features and just going over the interface. So you could have installed Tor on Windows, or you could be using it on Cubes, or you could be using it on Tails, or finally you could be using it on any Linux distro of your choice. I'm going to be using Ubuntu, and basically if you already extracted the package as we did in the previous section of this course, you should have already started Tor, and here we are. Tor is actually opened, and I know that it's connected to the Tor network. Now let's actually get started. So Tor browser has a lot of security features that probably a lot of people overlook, but let's actually get into them. So If you maximize the Tor browser, it's going to tell you that the Tor browser can allow websites to determine your monitor size, which can be used to track you. So we recommend that you leave your Tor browser windows in their original default size. Well, that's actually a precaution that actually makes sense, because obviously if you visit a website, it has to basically form the website to the device that you're using, the resolution of the device that you're using, which you see very commonly nowadays. If you visit a website on your mobile device, it'll basically contort to the resolution of the mobile device. So basically, one of the first precautions you should take is basically making sure that you don't maximize your browser's resolution. And it just makes it a whole lot easier for them to understand what device you're using, and from there they can basically begin targeting you and all of that. Really, it's all got to do with security and anonymity. Now, most of you have already noticed that this really isn't a very normal browser, and as you can see, it's if you go to this little onion icon here, it's going to say Tor is enabled. Now, if you click on it, it's going to say new identity, a new Tor circuit for this site, and it's going to say security settings and the Tor network settings. Now, we basically want to hit new identity, all right? And what if we hit new identity? It's basically going to start a new Tor window. Now, we can either do that or we can just start from here. So I'm going to hit no. Now, let's try and visit a website like google.com, right? And let's see what it pops up. I already know that it's connected to the Tor network. All we have to see is what it basically replies. So according to what it's got from the Tor network, the IP that it's using is a Dutch IP from the Netherlands, and therefore it's changed it to all to Dutch. So in reality, I don't live in the Netherlands, so I can vouch that it's working. And if you click on the onion right now, it's basically going to show you the Tor circuit that's being used. So it's going to say this browser, and as we learned in the first section, how nodes work in the Tor connection, it's going to go to the first node. The first node is going to basically select the second node, and then it's going to select the third node, and then finally it's going to connect to the internet. So it's basically showing you the chain of node connections that your browser is taking to finally access the internet, which is why you'll find that sometimes that the connection is slightly slower. Again, you can create a new identity, and what that means is that it's going to give you a new IP address. All right, so we basically know that it's using a Dutch IP address. Let's try a website like sorry, I think I closed the window. Let's open Tor browser again, and let's just connect it to the Tor circuit. Sorry about that. I think I closed the window. So actually it probably has created a new identity for us. So let's open YouTube, youtube.com, and let's see what it gives us. So in theory, I don't know what IP address it's given me now, but let's see what it's given us. So basically it's still using the Dutch IP address, and possibly it's going to continue using that for right now. Anyway, what I was getting to was basically how it's basically structured the web page, and how you can customize the activity on the page. So as I was saying, you can get into security settings, and right now the security settings are set to low. That means it's basically going to work like a normal browser, and it's not going to restrict anything really. Let me just minimize this ad. Now, if I hit medium, alright, at this level, the following changes apply. Alright, JavaScript is disabled by default on non-HTTPS sites. So, YouTube is a HTTPS site, so that means it's still going to be enabled. HTML5 video and audio media become click to play via no script, so they'll not autoplay any videos. So basically on sites where JavaScript is enabled, performance optimizations are disabled. So basically when it's at medium, it's going to restrict a bit of scripts running on the website. For example, if I clicked one of these videos right here, a lot of live stuff is playing. Let me just click a video that might not be too controversial in terms of content. Let's just go to trending, and let's see what the differences are. in terms of how it's played. So let's try this video right here. And as you can see, it'll still play the video. It'll still play the video quite well, and nothing really has changed. So if we go back into the security settings and we set it to high, let's hit OK, and not now. Let's refuse that and let's reload the web page and let's see what it gives us now. So it's nothing really has changed in terms of the interface. Everything is still smooth. So let's try and open a video right now. And as you can see, this little icon has turned into a no scripts sign, and most probably it's not going to play the video. And as you can see, it's not going to play the video at all. It's not giving us any thumbnails. So let's go back to the home screen and let me explain what the high security level actually means. So at this security level, the following changes apply. Mouse over for details. So basically, it's not going to give you any preview of the content. Like for example, if I click here, you can basically see that it doesn't. On sites where JavaScript is enabled, performance optimizations are disabled. So in reality, a lot of the scripts are disabled. So let's hit OK. And now if we look over here, it's going to say, this is basically your script area, and it's going to ask you to, it has this area for blocked script, and it's going to, as you can see, it's temporarily allowed the font to work, but it's disabled other scripts as well. Now you can temporarily allow the scripts on this page if you know you're on a website that you can trust. However, it's actually going to advise you that allowing the scripts globally or universally across the Tor browser is very dangerous. And that's because some websites may use JavaScript, and JavaScript uses your computer to perform advanced tasks on the websites like calculations, and those can be really dangerous, especially when harvesting information from your browser and your computer. So that's basically the security features. You then have your Tor network settings. Alright, so these are very simple, and it's basically the first settings that you get when installing the Tor browser. You can basically check that whether or not your internet service provider blocks connections to the Tor network in countries where that may be restricted, whether you have a proxy or you're going through a firewall. So that's really up to you. Coming back to let me just go back to YouTube. Sorry about that. Coming back to the new Tor, if you focus on the Tor circuit for this site, as I said, it's going to show you a visual representation according to the chain of nodes being used. Now, if you go into the security settings, and if we were to basically say medium and or low, what would be really dangerous is if I used a search engine. By the way, the Tor browser automatically uses the DuckDuckGo search engine, which is an anonymous search engine. So basically, as you can see, the default search engine is DuckDuckGo. So let me just search for the hidden wiki, which is basically a wiki that contains a collection of a few onion sites. So generally speaking, the first thing you'll realize is that the deep web or the dark net, we're actually not yet browsing the dark net, is relatively slower because it's going through a certain amount of proxies. So the hidden wiki, as I said, it's going to be using the DuckDuckGo search engine. The DuckDuckGo search engine is, I think, the best search engine because it's anonymous and does not track any of your search queries. So let's open the hidden wiki. And let's try and actually visit a deep web site right now, or a darknet site. So basically, this is just a collection of .onion websites, which is the URL format for the deep web. For most of you don't know, it does not end in .com or .org, .net. Really, in terms of the deep web or the darknet, all websites end in a .onion format. So if I was to just find a website on the hidden wiki, you can try this for yourselves. Most of the websites will not work, but if you can find one that works, it'll be a good starting point for you to understand how this works. So I'm basically going to try and click on a link that may not be that may be working. For example, this market website that may be dealing in firearms. you have a lot of illegal content right here, which again, as I mentioned in my disclaimer, I'm not going to be responsible for if you get involved into this. But anyway, let me try and find links that are working. As I said, one of the most common problems you'll be encountering on the deep web is the fact that links don't actually work, and some of them will be dead. So the real challenge or the adventure is finding links that are working. So let's actually try and find a website that's working, so that we can I can basically show you how it works before we end this video. No site wants to work today. Let's try the Twitter clone. Excuse me. None of those sites want to work. Let's try a hacking website right here. It also contains a few torrent websites, which, by the way, another tip is I would not recommend you to basically torrent over the deep web, because that will basically just give out your location. I will get to advanced anonymity settings and configuring, basically giving you full anonymity where it cannot be traced back to you. But that's coming in the future videos. So we've actually got our first deep web website. And as you can see, this is an ebook website called the Imperial Library, and it's saying there are 103,448 books on the library. So you can basically just check this out. And let's check out science fiction, for example. You have Star Trek. You can download it or read it. Again, this may be illegal, and I don't encourage you to do that, but at the end of the day, you can use this information to do whatever you want. So that's basically it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to get started with the hidden wiki. Alright, so you might be asking yourself, what exactly is the hidden wiki? Alright, so the hidden wiki is essentially the Tor version of Wikipedia, and you can use it to find services or sites that you're interested in. Alright, so essentially the site lists all the hidden onion sites, and essentially will list all of them and will sort all of them depending on the type of service or the type of sites they are. So for example, you have introduction points, you have editors picks, financial services, you have, your hosting links, etc., etc. All right, so it's a fantastic starting point for you. And you might be asking yourself, what exactly is the link? Well, I'll be posting the link in the resources section, so you can check that out after this video. And furthermore, you can also just search for the hidden wiki through the DuckDuckGo search engine. All right. That being said, let's have a quick overview of the hidden wiki and how and why it's so helpful. Alright, so by default, it is a very, very well designed website, as you can see here. Again, its main purpose is to sort and to display all the hidden services or the hidden links on the deep web or on the dark web for that matter. Alright, so as you can see, you have your editor's picks, where you have some fantastic websites that I would recommend that you get started with reading. For example, the Matrix. I'm pretty sure you already know what that is about. How to exit the Matrix. That involves learning how to protect yourself and your rights online and off. And then finally, you have a very good read here regarding to PGP signatures. All right, so a short and simple how-to guide, excellent read there. So I would really recommend that. All right, so as you can see, you then have your introduction points, where we have the Amaya search engine, the DuckDuckGo search engine, Bitcoin fog. So again, that is to deal with Bitcoin anonymization taken seriously. Now, you will be given notices depending on whether or not the site is currently up and running. And as you can see, the Bitcoin fog is currently down as of 2017 and 18. All right. You then have your Tor links, which is essentially Tor links that are moderated for replacement for the hidden wiki. So these are an extra repository of links. You have the Torch search engine. right? You then have your hidden wiki, which is essentially a mirror of the hidden wiki. You have the not evil search engine, and finally the self-defense surveillance guide. So these are all fantastic introduction points. And the reason I'm showing you how to use the hidden wiki is because it really is a great place to get started with understanding, the types of sites that actually exist, and actually understanding that, the deep web, or the dark web for that matter, is really a very robust environment, in the sense that you have all types of sites with, providing different services. So again, you can look at the financial services. This is where you can find the different sites. Now, again, I do need to throw out caution that some of these are not going to be legal, or of course, because they involve, counterfeiting, etc., etc. But again, I'm not going to demonstrate any of that. The purpose of this video is to show you all the sections in which you can get started from. You then have your commercial services that involve, different stuff like betting sites, iCloud unlock, driver's licenses, etc., etc. Again, I'm not going to go into all of that because there is quite a bit to look at. As for the domain services, you have some fantastic domain name searches you can perform here, where you can essentially you can buy domain names, or the ones that you feel are appropriate for your site, if you choose to create and host a deep web site. As for the anonymity and security, you have it sorted out into mixing services, anonymity, security, privacy. So you can go ahead and look at that. Again, for your hosting web file or images, you have your hosting links, which is currently 1. I would recommend that you check that out if you're interested in that. You have your email messaging. So we looked at Proton Mail and a few others. And as you can see, there are plenty more that you can look at and you can use, and you can, find what works the best for you. You then have, your social networks. So you have Galaxy 2, Facebook, which is the, essentially the real Facebook's onion domain. So essentially it's Facebook's, way of saying, we are also here on the deep web. And again, as you can see, there's a small amount of information here, saying claims not to keep logs. Trust them at your own peril. All right. So essentially what's happening here is Facebook has their own dark web Facebook link, and essentially they claim not to keep any logs of your activity. And there's a small disclaimer telling us to trust Facebook at our own peril. Right? So make sure you really understand what that means. As for, you have Moneybook, a dark web, Facebook for money, there's a lot of stuff on the deep web or the dark web. And finally, you have your forums, your WikiLeaks, which is quite interesting as well. You can go ahead and check that out. So I can just open that up in the next link. So we'll let that load while we look at this. You then have your hack freak, anarchy, wares, viruses, cracks, all of that good stuff, videos and movies, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to continue all the way down because the content or the sites that are listed are, of explicit nature, or of nature that is not suitable for me to show you. But irregardless of that, the hidden wiki is a fantastic starting point that can really point you in the direction that you want to go, whatever that direction is. Again, I'm going to pass out, some caution that please navigate the sites that you want to visit with caution. And again, do not click any random site that you do not know, you don't know what it contains or does not have a title. That's why I would recommend for all the beginners that you start off with the hidden wiki, because all the sites are verified and it gives you a description of what the site is. So the site is genuine and does what it says. All right. So, clicking on links, on onion links that you're not sure of is it's really not a good way of exploring it unless you know what you're doing exactly. All right. So as you can see, we have WikiLeaks here and WikiLeaks submission upload. So you can actually submit, some information here that you want leaked. But we're not going to be doing that today. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to introduce you to the hidden wiki. The link will be in the resources section, or you can go ahead and use a search engine like DuckDuckGo that works both on the clear net and the dark net. All right. So that's going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Hey guys, welcome to this video, and in this video I have a very, very fun and exciting video for you guys. Basically, we're going to be looking at the best deep webs or darknet search engines out there. So basically, I've got about 4 that I think are the best search engines that you can get. One of them that you might want to include is DuckDuckGo, but it's not the best for the deep web or the darknet. Now, the first one I'm going to start with is Amia or AHMIA. I don't know how you can pronounce it, but basically this is my personal favorite because of how many results it turns up. So let's say I want to search about let's say a conspiracy theory. So let me just type a conspiracy theory. Let's just search a very simple, a generic, and as you can see, it's going to give the thing I like is it's very well designed. It basically has a very clean user interface. It displays the results in 0.05 seconds. All right. It has statistics. You can basically use an I2P search, which you really don't need to know what it is right now. It basically then indexes them according to their relevancy and whether or not they are online, and basically how old they are. As you know, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, basically sites on the deep web will usually find sites that most of the sites will not work and are not active. And if you the real challenge is finding sites that are active. So let's try the first one and let's see what we can get out of this one, just to show that the results are indeed active and the sites that you'll find through this search engine are the best. So basically we have the sports conspiracy, brainwashed from birth by Dr. Marcus Driver. Well, there's some pretty interesting stuff here. Nothing is so permeating in American culture as sports. We are exposed to competition based on physical struggles for dominance, aka athletics. Well, I'm really not going to go into any of this. But basically, this has been Amaya or Amia, whatever you want to call it. And this is a very good search engine that I would recommend. I would really highly recommend this search engine. The second one on my list is Candle. Now, Candle is a very minimalistic search engine. As you can see, it's basically got inspiration from Google, and that's why it's using the Google color scheme. And it basically has a tagline saying no parentheses, no Boolean operators, no quotes, just words. So it's basically telling you to just search for whatever you want to get. So let's try and search for let's try again and search for conspiracy theory, and let's see what it returns. All right, so you can see it's basically giving different results. As you can see on this one, we got different results, and on Candle we got different results. So as you can see, there are some differences, and it's going to basically show results. It's showing 20 out of 69 of 97 of 204. So basically it's indexed in pages. Now, talking about the way it displays it, it has a black theme, so that's very nice and easy on the eyes. It also gives a description. It gives a nice description, and basically has an index as to when the site was up. So this is very nice because it actually gives the latest sites as compared to Amaya. That sorts by relevance, but Candle will sort by time that it was updated or activated. So let's click on this and let's see what we get, and hopefully this link is still up, or it has actually had some downtime. All right, so it's basically forwarded us to Intel Exchange, where we have some conspiracy theory forum right here. Intel Exchange, by the way, is a very popular forum on the deep web. I will make a separate video on Intel Exchange because it's a really good forum for you to basically express how you feel, really. But that's basically Candle. So Candle is very good search engine. And by the way, this all comes down to personal preference, really. Everything is up to you and whatever you deem comfortable for yourself. The third one is Not Evil. Basically, Not Evil is a very simplistic search engine that basically gives you the ability to index whatever you're searching in terms of titles, URLs, or you can use both. All right, so you can basically search for keywords. So I'm going to basically search for conspiracy theory. I'm just going to be using this just to show the differences between the three and other search engines that we're going to get to in a few moments. So I'm going to make sure it's using titles, and I'm going to search, and let's see what results it turns up for us. All right, so as you can see, there's some stuff that's kind of different here, and you'll find something. Maybe we have something here in Russian, and basically it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't sort everything in a very neat way or an intuitive way that people are accustomed to, especially when it comes to search engines. That would probably be the only thing down about this search engine. It's called Not Evil. So let's actually try and open this link right here and let's see what it gives us. It's in Russian, so I'm guessing it's going to be in Russian. It's opening an Onion site. It does give a last response date. That means when it was last pinged active. Let's see what it gives us here. It's taking quite a while to load. Probably a big page. Alright, so yeah, as I said, this is a Russian website, and it looks like it's a download website for, I think, a film or something. So really nothing. As you can see, they give varied results, and again, it all comes down to what search engine will give you what you want. So that's basically it for Not Evil. By the way, the links will be attached to a resource folder in this section, so you can basically check these links and see them for yourselves. Now going on to the fourth search engine is Grams. Now Grams is basically a search engine that will allow you to search the dark web markets. Now, the next video is probably going to be about the dark web or the deep web markets, and this will basically allow you to index all of them. So let's try and see maybe something, what you would expect to be sold on the dark web markets. For example, let's try a very popular one, cannabis. Let's search for Gram search. By the way, talking about the interface, it is again, it has inspiration from Google. And it has a very nice logo here, as you can see, basically giving you an idea of what it's all about. Really, it's about basically the markets that deal with narcotics and stuff like that. Again, I don't encourage any of this or condone any of this, but again, it's up to you, really, whatever you want to do. But anyway, let's basically give that a search and let's see what it returns us. Alright, so it's returned an advanced search and it gives you the amount of time it took to search. It has some very cool statistics here that I'll get to in a second. So basically, it's going to highlight these two search results, which I'm guessing are sponsored, and it'll give you the vendor, the price in terms of Bitcoin, and the location in which this company or vendor is located. So 25 bottles of Canazine. I'm really not going to click on any of these links because that's not the focus of this video, but you basically get the idea. Alright, so Grams is basically a dark web market search engine, and you basically get the idea. You can search for anything on the dark web markets. Pretty cool. The last search engine in this video is going to be Torch. And we basically took a very brief look at Torch in the previous video. Torch is as simple as it gets. All right, so basically it has these weird links over here, the Tor warehouse, and basically they basically look like advertisements here. So it's going to say hacking services, and really, if you want to click on these links, it's up to you, really. So again, let's search for conspiracy theory. All right, let's give that a search, and it's returned a conspiracy theory right here called the chemtrail conspiracy theory. I don't know whether you guys are fans of conspiracy theories, but this is a very popular one. Most probably it's going to be from, all right, so there we are. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about, search engine, and this is why I really don't like Torch, because even though it has a good, fairly good user interface, you can basically sort it by the last modified date, which we can actually try right now and see if the results that it gives us are good in any way. And as you can see, we clicked on this link and it told us that it does not exist. So again, it's all about whether or not a search engine can give you what you're looking for. In my opinion, Armia is the best search engine, and I would recommend it to you. Again, the links will be in the resources folder attached to this section. So that's basically it for this video, guys. I hope you guys found value in this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thanks so much for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the course. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you the best email providers on the deep web or the dark net. as it's so called. So there are about 4 email providers that I think will perform exceptionally well for really any purpose you have in mind. And basically, you might be asking yourself, why do I need an email address on the darknet or the deep web? Well, the question is, why not? Why shouldn't you have one? First of all, it's amazing for communication because it's going to be anonymous and there's literally no tracking whatsoever. There's no Google Analytics tracking, basically tracking how many emails you send a day, or nor is there basically file scanning on basically attached files that you could be scanning. But those are just some of the advantages of using an email on the deep web or the darknet. So let's actually get started. By the way, the links will be in the resources folder for each of these videos that actually contain links. So basically, the first one is called Proton Mail. Now, Proton Mail is also on the clear web, but it does exceptionally well on the deep web or the darknet as well. So here it is, and you can basically just log in or create an account. Now, you might be asking yourself, why should I select Proton Mail? Well, basically, as you can already see, it's gone to the clear web sign up. And if we basically just temporarily allow scripts on this site, it should, this is already on the clear web, so there's really no risk. You can select your account type. Some of its packages do need a payment. Now, there's the free version, which is a basic account with limited features. The secure email with advanced features basically has these advantages right here, up to 1,000 messages a day. And you might be asking yourself, well, why can't I just use normal email for my communication? Well, that's also good. That's a good argument. But with Proton Mail, as it says, Proton Mail is a free service for the public good. You can support online privacy by selecting a paid account. Your contribution helps us basically develop Proton Mail as a free and open source software. So basically, the packages, the payment packages are just to support them in development. Now, you might be asking yourself, what security do they use? And they use end-to-end encryption. So that basically on its own is the best. And you can go through all of this. Really, you can basically have a look at how it works and why they basically why you should sign up with them. But that's basically it for Proton Mail. I won't get too deep into that. Again, it's all about personal preference. You can basically make your decision out of Proton Mail and the others that we're going to be looking at. The second one is Torbox, the Tor mailbox. Now, this is more in line with what I would use. And basically, if we go to the welcome menu, it's going to say, welcome to Torbox. This is a hidden mailbox service only accessible from Tor. So there's no clear web version. There is no connection between Torbox and the public internet. All messages are sent and received with Torbox. Alright, so just sign up for a new Torbox and start sending and receiving email within Tor. Alright, pretty cool. So you can basically just sign up for an account right here, and it is free. So you can basically enter your nickname, your email address, name, password and captcha, and basically add your mailbox. Might be asking yourself, why is this so cool? Well, for me, I've used a Torbox before. I just love its simplicity. It's really easy to create. It's an account, and it's the mailbox is very simple. You can give people your email address over the deep web and you can communicate with them. And I might be asking yourself, what type of security do they use? Well, basically, this is the standard email system. Communications between you and the server to MTA transport are encrypted as they are established within the Tor network. So basically, your messages are already encrypted because they are traveling through the Tor relay. Basically, what it offers you is a mailbox and an email address and webmail access through Squirrel Mail. So pretty good package, and it's free, absolutely free. So this is one of my personal favorites. I would actually recommend this for beginners. The next one is BitMessage. Now, BitMessage has been there for quite a while now, and very simple website. I think this is done in basic HTML. You can basically register, you can set up FAQ, frequently asked questions, and basically what BitMessage is a gateway that will basically to connect BitMessage with an email without the need of any software. So it allows you the BitMessage network the same way you use email today. So it's completely free. no advertisements anywhere, no tracking. So all of these really good features. In terms of registration, you have your setup guide right here, which we will look at briefly. So basically this website uses JavaScript to protect email addresses. If you read this text, you have JavaScript disabled. In this case, replace all hashes with a document, blah blah blah. So this is really just an advanced bit message email client, really advanced. It's a very good service, but I would not recommend this for beginners. And really, this is something you would get into when you're moving into, like, when you're using many email addresses. For example, you create a website on the deep web and you want to use many email addresses. This is the service you would use because it's more of a mail gateway. Now, the last one, which is also a very good one, is Mail to Tor. All right, now Mail to Tor has a very good website. So it's an anonymous email service provider. It's a free anonymous email service to protect your privacy. All right. So it allows anyone to send and receive mail anonymously via webmail or email client. You will need to have the Tor browser installed on your computer to access Mail to Tor. So it only works on the deep web or the darknet. Now, it's a very simple website, and you basically just go about it by registering for an account. It's a bit of a slow website, but it's very good service nonetheless. So again, very simple registration, username, password, confirm your password. It has a captcha, and you can submit your query. You can then log in and then access your mailbox and send and receive email addresses, emails really, not email addresses. So that's basically it for this video, guys. These are basically I think the best email providers on the deep web right now, and hopefully you can find one that you like and one that you will hopefully be using for a long time to come. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Just to remind you, the links are going to be in the resources folder if you want to access any of these links. Anyway, if you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching. Hello everyone, and today we're going to be basically looking at, I think in my opinion, the best social networks and forums on the deep web, or the dark net as it's so called. So I have here a list of some of these sites that I think are the best, and by the way, the links to these websites or these onion sites will be in the resources folder under this lecture. So feel free to check them out. The first one is Galaxy 2, and I think in my opinion the best basically forum / social network on the darknet or the deep web. And basically you basically have an activity section. You can log in or create an account. As you can see over here, you can register, create an account. Overall, it's a very clean social network, in the sense that it doesn't contain any malicious or really disturbing content. You then have the latest activity. You have the wire, and this basically, as you can see right here, you have basically wire posts, which are just like status updates or questions that people would ask. You then have groups. All right, so you can form a group once you log in, and as you can see, basically right over here, as you can basically see, you have different groups that are discussing different things, and that's basically that. You then have let me just open these, let me just reload the page. You then have blogs, you have rules, you have frequently asked questions. So really it has a lot of people on it, and it's a really good social network / forum. So please do check it out. The next one is going to be ChatTor. Now ChatTor is basically a chat room, and the reason I've included it is because you're absolutely anonymous, and all you have to do is just enter a random name. So I'm just gonna enter mine as Peter Griffin, and I'm gonna just join the lobby, and it's gonna basically open a lobby up, and you can basically start chatting whatever you want with these random people. So overall, pretty cool. The next one we're going to look at is Facebook. Believe it or not, Facebook actually has their own Onion website, .onion website, and they basically claim that they don't log your activity when you use it when you use it on the Tor network. I wouldn't go by their word, because they don't have it in their terms of use, because they really haven't. It really isn't supported all that much when it comes to the deep web. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go ahead. Again, just run this at your own risk. Alright, and the last one is the Intel Exchange, which I did promise that I would give you guys basically an overview of in the previous video. And Intel Exchange is basically a forum where you can discuss different types of stuff, and I really enjoy this. You can create an account and you can log in, and the reason I like it is because it has a very good, it's basically organized very well. It's very simple. For example, you have sections like suppressed technology, and with suppressed technology you can basically check out stuff like free energy, the 0 point or anti-gravity documentary, really interesting stuff that deals with the science and technology. So overall, pretty awesome. So that's basically it for this video, guys.
Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to get started with chat rooms on the deep web or the darknet. Alright, so by default, I have 2 chat rooms here. And you might be asking yourself, well, aren't there any more chat rooms on the deep web or the darknet? And the truth is, there are a lot of them. And the reason why I'm showing you only 2 is because these are the ones that I can recommend to you, or I can trust that will not, cause or will not leak any of your information, or whose purpose is not for any malicious intent. Now, let me explain something. The thing with the deep web or the darknet is that it's huge, and the amount of sites is very large. And if through browsing or using search engines, you could find other chat rooms, but the truth about them is you really can't tell what their main goal is, apart from obviously providing a chat room service. That is why I'm going to be showing you some of the most popular ones and some of the ones that I can verify as legitimate and whose purpose is only to help you chat. Alright, so by default, these 2 are CryptoDog and Daniel's chat. Now, I'll be posting the links, the onion links for these chat rooms in the resources section after this video, so you can check them out for yourself. Alright, and I just want to throw out a bit of caution. When browsing the deep web, do not, this is my honest opinion, do not trust any site until you can fully verify it, or a site, you do not go to any random site and fully trust it. And I hope you know what I mean by that. Alright, but that being said, let's get started. So the first site that we're going to be looking at is CryptoDog. Alright, so CryptoDog is really weird. You might be a bit confused as to why it's called CryptoDog, but don't worry about what it means. It's essentially just a name for a chat room. Alright, and by default, you will need to enable Java, and that is because it requires JavaScript for encryption. Alright, so for encryption of your messages, so that your messages are obviously safe, and it actually gives you a bit of privacy. Now, to do that, you just go to your right hand side and to the JavaScript plugin. Now, it might be on the left here with the onion circuits, or you can just go to the right and you can just temporarily enable JavaScript. Now, by default, in the security section of the course, we will be looking at some of the security features that you can enable and disable, that will really help your security. Alright, so by default, welcome to CryptoDog. Now, it's going to prompt you here to enter your conversation name. I'll explain what that is in a second, and you can just enter your nickname. Alright, now let's look at some of the information that is going to be provided here. Alright, as you can see, it's going to say, welcome to CryptoDog. Here are some useful tips. Want to meet new people? Try connecting to the room lobby. So I'll show you how to connect to the lobby. It'll then tell you here that CryptoDog is not a magic bullet. You should never trust any piece of software with your life. So again, do not trust anything here. It's just a simple disclaimer saying that, we are not going to be held accountable for any damage that's caused to you. Not that it isn't secure. It just is a bit of a disclaimer. Alright, so then it's going to tell you that CryptoDog can protect you against untrustworthy people or keyloggers. So again, it's throwing a little disclaimer that do not trust any people that you meet in the chat room, because everything is encrypted and your identity is protected. You really don't know who you're talking to. But again, a chat room is very useful if you want to chat with your friends or your business associates. Alright, so how would you go about setting up a chat room with CryptoDog? Well, to do that, you need to set up your conversation name. Now, this has to be very, very unique. And as you can see, enter a name for your conversation and share it with people you'd like to talk to. Alright, or you can join the lobby to meet new people. Now, by default, this is going to be your chat room name, and it has to be unique if you want security and you want to prevent other people from joining into it. So you'll essentially share your conversation name with only the people you want to join your chat room. So I can say something like test chat room. Again, you can change yours to be as complex as you want it. You can use combination of alphanumeric characters. So as you can see, I'll just use a simple one and I'll just call it test chat room. Alright, so test chat room, and now you enter your username or your nickname, which again will protect your identity. So you can enter something random like user 7689 or something really different and long, and just hit connect. Alright, now it's going to start the connecting process, and it's hopefully going to start encrypting your connection. So give that a few seconds, and by default that is what it requires JavaScript for. It's not going to require it for any type of location tracking, even though that is quite impossible considering that you're using the Tor relay for communication. Alright, so give this a few seconds. It shouldn't take too much time at all, and once you're done, essentially you can just share the conversation name with the people you want to communicate with. Alright, there we are. So welcome to your chat room, and as you can see, by default I'm the only one in the chat room, and I can start sending messages and wait for other people to join in. And as you can see, this is my username, and this is the chat room name, which is called test chat room. On the right here, you have your light mode, which changes it to light. You have your status, which is essentially going to tell the people also in your chat room whether you're available or you're away. Alright, so currently I've set it back to available, and you can look at your information here. And this is some information about the encrypted keys. So you can just look at that. As for the desktop notifications, which is really great, you can turn on desktop notifications if that is something you're interested in. You can also turn on audio notifications, which I really don't like, so I'll keep that off. And you can finally log out. And to send a message, you just go to the message bar here and say something like, hello. Welcome. You can just send a simple message, hello, welcome, and just send that, and there you go. Alright, so now by default, if you have sent the conversation name to the people you want to join, all they have to do is enter this conversation name and select a username and just hit join, and they'll join you. Alright, so that is how to create your own chat room. So now I'm going to log out here. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to join the lobby. So the conversation name for the lobby is very simple. It is just lobby. Now in the lobby, this is where you can meet, as you can see, you can meet new people, and this is just a place where people can connect with each other. Alright, so random people, again, with their identities protected. So I'm just going to hit connect. Alright, and it's going to connect to the lobby. Give it a few seconds again. It's going to start encrypting your connection. Give that a few seconds, and it should connect directly to the lobby, and that is where you will find different type of people. Again, I'm just throwing it out. I'm just throwing out a disclaimer: do not trust anyone you meet in the chat room, and do not take them. You really can't trust anyone you meet. So by default, you can see you all have your users here, and they're the users that are currently online, and you can chat with them and just find out more about them. But again, a lobby is a place for meeting new people. Alright, so that is essentially CryptoDog, and once you're done, you can just log out, and voila, that is how to use CryptoDog. I really enjoy using CryptoDog, and I have used it for professional communication many times with business associates, and it really does protect your communication. Alright, now moving on to the second chat room, which is Daniel's chat. Alright, so Daniel's chat is really awesome as well. And as you can see, there are some rules here. You can go through them. I'm not going to go through them because they may contain explicit content that I'm not going to go into. But by default, you can select your username. So I'm just going to hit a random username like user 8976, and I'm just going to select a password, which I can choose depending on how complex I want it to be. Since I'm only using this account one time, I'm just going to hit 12345. And I'm just going to enter this captcha, which is essentially asking us for the purpose of verification. So the captcha is EEZDH. Alright, and once I've done that, it's going to ask me to select a color. And I'm just going to select a random color like sky blue and enter the chat. Alright, so once I hit enter the chat, essentially what's going to happen, just let it load, and I'll for some reason the captcha is already used or timed out, so yes, I had to reload the page. So let me just create a new user really quickly. 8976, password 12345, and I'm just going to copy the captcha BSDV7, and I'm going to select a color. Let's see, do we have red? I like red. If I can just find it there. I found it just there it is, and I'm going to hit enter chat. All right, and there you are. Welcome user, your login has been delayed. You can access the chat in 120 seconds. So again, it's going to ask you, it's going to delay your login for 120 seconds in a form of a waiting room. So this is just a way of it, it's just a way of it verifying that you are indeed an actual person on the Tor relay, not a bot or a computer. Alright, so by default, it's just going to keep on refreshing every 10 seconds until your time is up, and once it's done, it'll essentially enter you into the chat room. Now by default, I'm just going to let this complete, and I'll get back to you when this is done. Alright, so I'm left with the last 5 seconds in the waiting room, and there we are. It's taken us to Daniel's chat, and by default, there we are. Just give it a few seconds to load up. And as you can see, it's going to give you a small disclaimer as well, with it saying chat about anything while respecting the rules. So if you've gone through the rules, you know about what to post and what not to post. All right. As you can see, these are the members that are currently online, and for me, I'm a guest because again, it is sorted out in forms of guests. So you can register for an account if you want to do that. By default, it's only me and QWERTY. And as for the members, you can see their names there. Let's look at an overview here. So essentially I can just send a message here. So I can type in my message and I can send it to all chatters, or to the offline chatters, or to specific users in the chat room. All right. And I can also attach files. Now looking at the messages that have been sent here, you can see that there is some communication. It's really very simple communication, but it's a great way of communicating with people because you can directly communicate with them. And if they are also in the chat room, you can just send them a direct message and upload your files and send them. And you can also switch to a multi-line, which allows you to send multi-line messages. All right. That being said, it's a really very simple chat room, but again, with a lot of functionality here. And again, it's a great way of communicating with people and also discovering new people if that's what you're looking for. All right. So those are two of my favorite and most trustworthy chat rooms. Now, when I say that, I'm going to throw out caution that I am not guaranteeing that they're going to be that they're going to be safe. But for the most part, I've used them for a long time, and I can assure you that they are some of the best ones. Now, by default, you can also find your own and use them, and the process is relatively simple. Their main purpose is for protecting your identity and anonymity, and furthermore, encryption of your messages. All right. That being said, that is going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to get started with DeepvWeb or the darknet markets. Alright, so for those of you who are a bit confused as to what DeepvWeb or darknet markets are, they essentially allow users to come together and obviously to sell digital products or actual physical products anonymously, and obviously with the whole idea of protecting your identity. Now, most of these sales or the crypto or the currency used on most of these markets are cryptocurrencies, in the sense that you have Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, or Ethereum. But most popularly, you will find the use of Bitcoin and Monero on most of these markets. All right, so payments have to be made with Bitcoin or Monero, or if the site supports it, Litecoin. All right. And in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency section of the course, you can look at how to buy these cryptocurrencies and how to store them in your wallet, and furthermore, how to access them and how to use those, and how to use the cryptocurrency. That being said, let's get started with our DeepvWeb markets. Now, by default, I've selected 3 of the best DeepvWeb markets that are out there, dependent on their reviews and their security. Now, when I say reviews and security, these are probably rated 5 out of 5 with the best security out there. And I'll be taking you through them very, very simply, and I'll be giving you an overview of how they work. That being said, I'll be posting the links in the resources section after the video, so you can check them out for yourself. Okay, so getting started with the first market, which is the Wall Street market. This is a great market that you can get started with, and you can sign up for free, and you can also log in if you have an account, but I'm guessing you don't have an account. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to register, which is it's really very simple. All you need to do here is you need to just select your username and your password. Sorry, you can go to sign up for free here. Let me just show you how to register. So you can enter your username, your password, and it'll ask you to enter a CAPTCHA. Now, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in really quickly. I just created an account so that I do not have to take you through the process, because again, the process of entering CAPTCHAs is really long and tedious. All right, so I'm going to enter my username. My username is user3456. Again, I just created a random account that I'm not really going to be using for any transactions. So I'm just going to log in now. I'm just going to enter the CAPTCHA 9ZMPX, like so. And yeah, that's it. And I'm going to hit login. All right. So I'm just going to log in, and hopefully it logs me in with the CAPTCHA being right. There we are. So it successfully logged me in. Now, one more thing is I'm going to be blurring the content on the right here. That's because I do not want to give any publicity to any of the items or products being sold here. Most likely because they will infringe on copyright, and again, I'm not supposed to be showing you things that might incite you to purchase illegal items. So it's all to do with the illegalities and legalities. And if you want to experiment for yourself, you can go ahead and try it. You can go ahead and try the site yourself. All right. So by default, you have on your top here your home, your user control panel, the support. You can also create referral links and refer your friends to the site if that's what you want to do. And you also have your quality control page, and finally your logout button here that allows you to log out. Pretty self-explanatory. On your right, you have your featured listings. You have on your left here, you have the items sorted depending on what they are. So you have software and malware, for example. That's just an example there. You have guides and tutorials, those being probably the most on the fringe of legality. You then have your top vendors. You have your rising vendors, and at the bottom here, you have your two cryptocurrencies that are supported on the site, which in this case are Bitcoin and Monero. And you have the United States and Euro transfer, the actual amounts. All right. The exchange rate. Sorry about that. All right. So that is essentially the Wall Street market. Now, I'm not going to be covering everything because it is pretty self-explanatory. It's essentially just like using any market on the clear web. It's like using a site like eBay, apart from the fact that the products are going to be of slightly different nature. Okay, so that was the Wall Street market. Now let's move on to my second and my most favorite, which is the Empire market, because of its security features and protocols. So if you want to register, you just need to go into the register page here and just give that a few seconds to load up. I have noticed one thing with the Empire market is that sometimes it may take a while to load up, but the site is almost always up. All right, so as you can see, registration on the Empire market. You're making the right choice by registering on the Empire market. Choose your username, password, and you will be set to start trading on our marketplace using a secure escrow system. All right. So the great thing about this is it asks you to enter a PIN and a login phrase if you choose to do so. You can also, after you've created the account and you've logged in, you can also enable two-factor authentication, and you can also change your PIN and add a PGP public key here. All right. That being said, let's look at the registration. You just need to enter your username, your password. You confirm your password. You enter your 6-digit PIN, which you must remember. You can skip your login phrase and your user. You can choose to invite a user, but if you have the username. And finally, you select your currency, which in this case, on most cases, will be United States dollars. You also have your Great British pounds. You have your Australian dollars, euros, and Canadian dollars. You then have your cryptocurrency defaults, which in this case, it supports 3 cryptocurrencies. You have Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Monero. Now, depending on the seller of a product or a buyer, in this case, they will tell you the cryptocurrencies that they support, and you can furthermore make payments, depending on the cryptocurrencies that they support. Okay. So all you need to do is just log in. All right. So just log in. I already have an account. You can just create yours. So I'm just going to log in, and my user for this site was user345. My password was 123456778. Again, you can go ahead and I'll probably delete the account before telling you this, obviously, but the account has nothing on it regardless. I just created them really quickly to show you how these markets work. All right, so I'm going to enter the captcha, and I'm going to log in like so. There we are. And just give that a few seconds, and there we are. So again, I'm going to be censoring or blurring this right area here depending on the listings, again sorted up in terms of the featured listings. And on the left hand side, you have your account information. So you have the date you joined, the trust level, the total amount of sales in US dollars, and your total orders in US dollars. So the great thing about the Empire market is it has a very, very good a way of setting up you as a seller. So if you want to become a seller, I would really recommend this site for you. Okay, so in terms of categories, they sorted out into all of these categories that you can go ahead and look at. As for the search options, you have your search terms, the product type, the price range, from what country, what country it ships to, the order by date, actually not the order, yes, the order by date. You have your in-stock options and the vendor trust level, which is very important. You then have your exchange rates here for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Monero, which is excellent as well. At the bottom of the web page, you have your account security, where you can add your PGP key, your public PGP key, and finally you can enable your two-factor authentication. Okay, so again, it's all up to you depending on what you want to do. You can also, depending on the purchases that you want to make. And again, I'm not going to be encouraging you to use this. Now, by default, if you have JavaScript, what I was saying, if you have JavaScript enabled, it's going to tell you that they recommend that you disable JavaScript. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just disable JavaScript on this page, because that is what it recommends it here, as you can see, for better security. So I recommend that you turn off JavaScript for this page. Okay, now let's move on to our final market, which is, or actually if I just move back into here, and let me just, if I can just find it here, essentially, or yeah, we can just move on to the next market. I just wanted to confirm something on that over there. Let me just log out. All right, moving on to the dream market. All right, the dream market is probably not my favorite, but it's also a great market as well. And it was created in 2013, as you can see here. All right, so by default, I haven't created an account here. So I'm just going to hit sign up and we can do it together. Okay, so just give that a few seconds to load up the sign up page, and we can enter our details like so. And by default, it'll give you a suggested username that you can use. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to enter my password here. I'll go for 123456778, and my withdraw pin, which is essentially my pin that I use for withdrawing. So I'm just going to use this as 123456, and now it's going to ask me for my captcha. These captchas are getting really annoying now. UABA. All right, so that I hope that is the correct captcha here, and I'm just going to register. Let me just copy the username in case I forget it, and it asks me to enter it. The pin number is unsafe. All right, so if it gives you that, don't worry. You just need to enter a new pin. Let me just enter my password here, and I'm just going to change my pin to something like 22445, and I'm going to enter the captcha here like so, and I'm going to hit register. And the captcha was correctly entered. So yeah, this is really annoying. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to sign up, and I'm going to get back to you when it's done. All right, so I have registered, and as you can see, it's going to tell you, it's going to take you to the registration successful page, where it's going to tell you, welcome to the dream market. First time users should read this guideline. So I'd recommend that you go through the guideline. Now, if you want to become a vendor, or you want to start selling, you can also apply as a vendor right at the bottom here. Now, by default, just hit go to market, and it's opened up the market in the next page. And as you can see here, I have, I'm going to be blurring this as well, because again, it contains featured items that I do not want to feature, obviously for legalities and illegalities So again, it's sorted in terms of browsing. You can sort, the goods are sorted in terms of category. You then have your exchange and your onion mirrors, depending on when, depending on if the site is slow, you can choose one of these other mirrors, or if the site is not working on one of the mirrors, you can also change to the other one. All right, so there's a lot of product here, and the filters are right up at the top here, and you can look at the ship to countries that you can ship to as well here, which is awesome as well. You then have your ship from countries, the escrow, you have your category, your cryptocurrency that you choose to use. In this case, you have Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Monero, which is also very, very good, and you can apply the filter. Now, I really don't like the dream market, most probably because of the security, and I would really not recommend this. But if you want to try out this market, go ahead. It's also a good market. And again, these are the top 3 markets that I would recommend. You can go ahead and try other markets. But again, as I've mentioned before, security is very, very important. And it's all about, protecting your identity and obviously the security of your purchases, depending on what you want to purchase. That being said, that's going to be it for this video. I would really recommend that you look at the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency section if you're interested in performing these transactions or actually buying services and products from the deep web or the darknet, whatever they may be. So that's going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be getting started with the deep web links directories. Alright, so the deep web link directory, sorry about that. So essentially, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a deep web link directory? Well, essentially, this is a directory that contains deep web links. Now, we looked at the hidden wiki, and the hidden wiki is a great starting point for finding different links that you can explore depending on the services and and what they're about. But with directories, this is an extra or a better starting point. Well, not really a starting point, essentially a directory full of links. So if you want to look for newer links, or you've performed some searches on the search engines and you've not got what you want, this is also a great place to start looking from. Now, by default, I'll be uploading a lot more of these directories or videos on these directories, so you can try out whichever ones you want. And in today's video, we'll be starting off with dark directory or darkdir, depending on how you want to pronounce it or call it. And as you can see, it's essentially your guide to the darknet. Right now, by default, the sites are sorted out on the left in terms of categories. So you can check out for the categories in which you want to find links for. And on the right, it will post the links and it'll give you the name of the site and a description of what the site is containing or what the site is providing. All right. So let's say we are looking for links regarding links regarding blogs. All right. Let's say we're just looking for some blog links. So we click on blogs. And just wait for the site to load. Right, you do not need to enable JavaScript on this site. It works without JavaScript. So just give it a few seconds to load up. Don't worry if it takes a while. That is the whole process with the deep web or the darknet. The sites take usually longer to load. And if it doesn't load, you can always just stop it and reload it. Like so there. Let me just reload it. Hopefully it loads up for us. We can also check we can also look for other categories here. So what I'm going to do is, let me just go back to dark directory, or there we are. It has loaded. All right. So just give it a few seconds to load up, and there you go. It has loaded the site, and these are some blogs that you can look at. So you can see the title of the website. So as you can see here, instant card replenishment, blah, blah, blah. That's not really interesting. Wiki links, again, Michael's top secret page. So you can see this is where you can really explore the deep web or the darknet however you want, and you can just you're just browsing through it and trying to find interesting things that, or sites that might interest you. So as you can see, you have Brandon Evans. If you're looking for a specific writer, you have DeepvWeb, James D. Murphy, all of that good stuff. Anyway, that is how to find blogs. Let's look at one more category just to show you that it really does work, and we'll actually pick a site this time. All right. So let's say we're looking for, let's see, libraries and wikis. No, that's not really interesting. Let's say we're looking for, let's see, social networks. All right. So let's say we're looking for some social networks on the deep web or the darknet. So we'll click on social networks, and now it's going to load it it's going to load it for us. So just give it a few seconds. Again, don't worry if it takes a while. It usually, most of the sites on the deep web or the darknet usually take a while. All right, so just give it a few seconds. If it doesn't work, you can always reload it, and it will load the page up for you. All right, so again, if it's taking too much time, you can always just reload the page, as I'll do just now. So give that a few seconds. There we are. All right, it's reloaded the page, and it's going to start displaying. There we are. Okay, so if it does give you the error where it keeps on loading, you can always just stop the loading process and reload it. All right, so as you can see, these are some of the social networks you can get started with. So Good Hacker, let's see what else. Make Money, you know, pretty much the same type of sites you'll find on the ClearNet, but there could be some interesting ones. So let's see, Chatbox, Chatroom. Again, as I mentioned in the previous chatroom video, please be wary of the chatrooms you visit. So this one is essentially, it gives you a description of what this chatroom is about. So an encrypted chatroom, friendly people only. So yeah, you get an idea of what is required. So you have the dark lair. I'm not going to visit that. The New Zealand exploitation by the rich. So you can find really interesting websites or web pages for that matter, and it's all up to you. It's just about exploring and finding what you wanted to find. Selfless dedication. Let's see, Good Hacker. Let's see, directory rating links. Let's look at the next page, which is page 2. Let's see if we can open up the second page. Again, if it keeps on giving you that error, it's always good to just keep on reloading it. All right, so let's just wait for that. And if it doesn't load within 15 seconds, I usually just reload it, and it tends to work. But this error is only for the dark directory. I will be showing you other deep web directories where you can find other links as well. But overall, I really like dark directory. It's quite comprehensive in terms of the sites that it gives you. So let me just go back to dark directory there. And we can just look at an overview of what else you can do. So by default, the directories are pretty much simple. By the way, I forgot to tell you, you can also search for sites. So let's say you're looking for Facebook. There is a Facebook onion link on the deep web, officially created by Facebook, that allows you to access Facebook. So let's see if they can actually show it to us. Yeah, there it is. It is the Facebook core. Let's just visit that site. Let's see if it'll actually load up. So yes, this Facebook domain was actually created by Facebook, and it's designed to work on the deep web or the darknet. And the advantage is it keeps no logs of your activity. There you go. Really awesome. The fact that you can actually use Facebook on the deep web or the darknet. By default, of course, you'll have to enable JavaScript, but that's not something I really want to do. So yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope this will help you. I will be posting the link in the resources section, so you can check it out for yourself, and there'll be plenty more of these directories to come. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to be continuing with the deep web directories, the deep web link directories especially. And in this case, we're going to be looking at the onion crate, all right, which is essentially the Tor hidden service index, where, you know, it's an index of the deep web or onion links. All right, so it's also a fantastic directory where you can find, the onion links and explore even further. All right, so by default, the onion crate is really awesome. So don't worry, I'll be posting the link in the resources section so you can check it out for yourself. All right, so by default, it will give you information here. So 7,693 online onions. And again, it'll tell you if you want to search, Control+F is your friend. All right, so it's awesome that it allows you to search the entire web page. And there's a lot of links that you can look at. Now, by default, you have your index, your current index, which is again displaying onion sites here with a title and probably a description. You then have index version 3, which is also another index that has probably different sites or different links. And you can go ahead and look at that. And you can also submit. All right. And there you go. You can submit your links there. You can submit your onion address and the port, and you can add it. So if you have created a deep web or darknet site, this is a great way to actually add your onion link to this index so that people can find it. All right, so you can go back to the index here and just give it a few seconds to load up. Hopefully this doesn't take as long as it should be taking. For some reason it is. And there we are. We're back here. And as you can see, this is just going to display all the links. Now, again, you can essentially, if you want to find a specific link, you can always use your Control+F key, and there you are, find in page, and you can search for a page. So let's say we search for, again, the Facebook page. Whoops, I spelled that wrongly. Facebook, there you are, Facebook. And that is the Facebook core, www.i.onion. You can also look for other ones. Let's look for Matrix. That's a very interesting site as well. Matrix, there we are. Is that the site? I'm not sure that is the correct one, but anyway, that is still the one that, you know what? Let's just try it out. It was submitted in 2015, so it's probably still working, but that is not a guarantee. Let's look for another site. Something really interesting this time. Let's see if I can remember any good sites here. Or by default, you can just close the search. You can just click there, and once you've closed it, you can just go back to the top here, and you can start. You can just start looking for any other sites that you want to look for. So the Matrix site has opened up here. Hopefully there isn't any explicit content that I cannot display here, but yeah, the site is blank, so I'm just going to exit that site. That is that's an example of clicking on links irresponsibly. All right. So if you really don't know a site, I wouldn't recommend that you do that. So let's see what other sites we can find here. Hopefully something that is legal. You know, otherwise there's a lot of illegal sites here that obviously promote illegal services. Let's look at, I'm not going to look at forums because again, I don't know what forums they are and what they contain. So, let's see, nothing interesting here. Alpha 7. Nope. Amazon gift cards. That's definitely not something that I want to be looking at. Anyway, those are the sites that you can expect to find on the Onion Crate. And again, it's a fantastic directory that you can look at if you are looking for any, you know, for sites. The same with the way we looked at the dark directory, which is also great as well. But I'll be posting many of these other videos showing you the different indexes and directories that you can find for links if that is what you're looking for and you're really interested in exploring. All right. So again, this is not going to be a very comprehensive video in the sense that I'm not going to be exploring any web pages. I'll leave that to you, and I wish you the very best, and I hope you have fun. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Bitcoin section of the course. In this section of the course, we're going to be covering everything to do with Bitcoins, from what Bitcoins are to how they work, and all the way on to how you can basically use it for transactions on the deep web or the darknet. So let's get started. So in this video, this is a basic introduction to what Bitcoin is, how it's used, and what the current value is. So let's get started. So firstly, you'll realize that Bitcoin has a very nice logo. I mean, it just looks like a coin, but with a bit. Basically, the B means a bit. So let's get started. Coming on to understanding what a Bitcoin is, you first have to understand that it has an abbreviation, and that is BTC. So let me basically explain what Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin, firstly, is a decentralized currency, which essentially means that it's not a physical currency. It's used on the internet. So it's not a currency that you can basically have physically. It's a currency that is essentially worth value on the internet or digitally. Alright, so if today the internet were to collapse, Bitcoin would also collapse with it. And money, as like money has today, will not have any real value. However, it does have value because the internet is such a widely used tool. Secondly, it's the most preferred for payments on the dark web or the deep web. And I think most of you guys already know this, that it is the most preferred method of payment when coming to transactions on the deep web, for the simple fact that it has the best anonymity in terms of how anonymous this payment is. Now, you also have to understand that Bitcoin is not completely anonymous, alright? It's not really completely hidden behind any shadows. However, it is much more anonymous when compared to your credit card. And I'm going to get into basically Bitcoin mixing in the future videos in this section. So let's go on until the final part here, which is basically Bitcoin is a very erratic currency. Now let me explain what this means. Bitcoin is highly volatile and unpredictable in the sense that it does not store value in a very predictable fashion. Now you might be asking yourself, well, has Bitcoin's value always risen? Well, yes, that's true, but it has sometimes gone down, and that's, that really is dangerous in terms of people who want to try and invest in it. I will not recommend anyone to invest heavily into Bitcoin, because it's really you can't really tell what the value is going to be a few years from now, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes here. Now let's actually look at some basic Bitcoin terminology. You might have heard of some of these terms if you're keen on the whole Bitcoin scene. So firstly, you have your Bitcoin wallet. Alright, now this is where your Bitcoins will be stored for later use. It's just your virtual wallet where you can store Bitcoins. Alright, this is unique to you and it's protected by you. You have a password, and you basically understand that this is your wallet where you can store your Bitcoins. Of course, it's a virtual wallet. Now, secondly, Bitcoin address. Alright, now this is basically an alphanumeric key that will be used to send and receive Bitcoin. Now this is your unique address that will be used, for example, if you want to pay someone on the deep web or the darknet, you basically give them your Bitcoin address, and so on and so forth, vice versa. Now, a blockchain. This isn't really important right now. We'll get into it when we're talking about Bitcoin mining. But basically, a blockchain is a list of blocks, which I'll explain what a block is, that have been mined since the start of cryptocurrency. Now, I'll get to that in a few minutes, most probably in the next videos. Now let's look at what a Bitcoin ATM is. Now, a Bitcoin ATM is the location where you can buy Bitcoins with real money. So this is where you exchange your money, for example, US dollars, that's an example, or you can talk about the Great Britain pound. You can exchange that for Bitcoin, alright? So you're basically transferring, as you guys know, you're basically converting your currency into Bitcoin, alright? And vice versa. Now, let's look at Bitcoin mining, which is a very, very hot topic right now. And I'll probably cover a few videos on Bitcoin mining and how you can do it yourself. So Bitcoin mining is the generation or production of Bitcoins in the exchange for solving cryptographic problems using computer processing. So basically, if I were to set up a hypothetical Bitcoin miner, this will include a computer, obviously. And essentially what your computer is going to be doing, it's going to be using a lot of its processing power for solving these cryptographic problems. And in exchange for your service, you will be granted a certain amount of Bitcoin depending on the complexity of the cryptographic problem you are using. I hope that wasn't too confusing. But essentially Bitcoin mining is, as most of you, or as I'm guessing some of you may have heard, is basically just a cluster of computers connected together performing cryptographic problems in exchange for Bitcoin, which later can be converted into real money. So it is a money making scheme. Now let's look at the Bitcoin value, because I think it's very essential that we understand what I was pointing out earlier. If we look as of recording this video, the Bitcoin is 2,218.47 US dollars. That's one Bitcoin. Now, if you pay attention to this little graph here, it's going to tell you that Bitcoin started out almost at a zero value in 2013. All right. Now, by the end of 2013, going on to 2014, it took the hugest spike, I think, in value, and went up to, I think, $1,120, if I'm not wrong, if I kept up with that right. And then after 2 months, it dropped. All right, a few $100, and then it climbed again, and then it dropped, and then it climbed again, and then it went down by the end of 2014, and then it climbed again just at the beginning of 2015, and then declined very steadily, I think up to $300 or $200, and then kept steady throughout the entire 2015, the mid and of 2015 onwards, and then all the way to 2016, the beginning of 2016, it started climbing at a very steady rate, almost like a tangent curve, as you can see right here, with a few hikes along the way. The highest value, the highest peak I think that it's reached ever in history is basically very recently in 2017. As you can see, the value is now $2,000. But what I was pointing out with how erratic it is as you can see, this graph does not make very sense if you are to look at it in a mathematical or statistical point of view. What I mean is, if you guys are aware of statistics, you will understand that this graph is not a very good graph in terms of if you are investing in this currency, for example, because it goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down very erratically. It's not stable for a long period of time. It would be acceptable if the value would keep on going, but over the period of 2 years increase gradually with little or no spikes, because that is very threatening and you really can't tell what the future holds. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. I'm going to be continuing in the next video about how to set up your Bitcoin address and your wallet for Bitcoin transactions. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm basically going to be explaining to you guys what blockchains are, or what a blockchain is. So basically, let's start from the building blocks. A block is basically a record or a log of a transaction, all right, that you basically a Bitcoin transaction, all right. So a block is a log or a record of a Bitcoin transaction, all right. Now basically what forms a blockchain is when a block, which is also a record of a Bitcoin transaction, joins the other block in a chronological sequence. So basically a blockchain is a collection or a record of all transactions that were done on the deep web through Bitcoin. All right. So basically, if for example the first transaction connected to the second one after that, all in a chronological order, this all forms a what's known as a blockchain. So let me basically explain this to you using the website. So the website I'm using here is the blockchain.info website. And basically it's going to show you transactions per day. So it's going to say the number of Bitcoin transactions in the last 24 hours. All right. And it's going to basically give you a few charts, statistical charts about what Bitcoin, what's going on. And it's going to say these are, you see, this is basically how many transactions are currently being completed right now. And you can see there's quite a lot being performed. And as I was saying, basically if I perform a transaction today using Bitcoin, it's going to be stored in a block, all right, and then that block is going to connect to the one before mine. So it all goes in a sequence of chronological order. So the newest will come first, and so on and so forth. So that's basically it for this video, guys. I just wanted to explain what blockchains are, so you guys get a good understanding of what they are and how they basically relate to the deep web and Bitcoin. So in the next video, we'll actually get started choosing a Bitcoin wallet. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the Q&A section, and goodbye. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this lecture, we're going to be basically looking at the Bitcoin wallets and how to set up a Bitcoin wallet, and what are currently the best options in terms of Bitcoin wallets. So let's get started. Now, I'm not going to be showing you every Bitcoin wallet service online. I'm just going to give you my tips and my opinion on what are the best ones and what I would recommend to a beginner getting into Bitcoin. Of course, if you're not a beginner and you already have experience basically making transactions with Bitcoin, you're free to use whatever other service that you may like or that you enjoy. So the first option I'm going to show you is Coinbase. Now, the reason I say Coinbase is because firstly, it's the leading Bitcoin service in terms of exchanges done. That means it has a very high user base, and from that it means that it's very trusted. Now, it's not completely fully trusted because of the following reasons. Firstly, it does not deal with your Bitcoin wallet in the appropriate way, in the sense that it basically knows your address, your Bitcoin address, and from that basically means that it can identify you, for example, with your personal information to that Bitcoin address. and that really hinders anonymity. And if someone were to get that, they can literally just trace all the transactions that you've done, and that's something that people really don't like. Apart from that, as I said, it's very beginner friendly, and it's a very stable service in the sense that it's got a lot of backing and has got a lot of investors. The one of the disadvantages I think is a big problem is the fact that it's not supported worldwide and is only supported currently in 32 countries. This service, Coinbase, basically operates online. So you have to create an account, and you can basically get your address, your Bitcoin address, and start transacting with Bitcoin. I'm going to get to that shortly. So basically, you can access it on the web and on your mobile device on Android or iPhone. It has insurance protection. You have instant exchange, secure storage, full control or in terms of your private keys. It has a signature vault, and you can basically invest in the currency by scheduling buys. So those are really advanced things that I don't think you'd like to get into. So that's basically it for Coinbase. Now let's go on to my personal favorite and what I would highly recommend for beginners, and that is Bitcoin Core. Now Bitcoin Core, as the tagline basically is telling you, helping you keep Bitcoin decentralized, which was the reason why Bitcoin was created. And Coinbase will slightly delve into that phase where it really is trying to make Bitcoin centralized, in the sense that they basically link your personal information with your Bitcoin address, and Bitcoin was meant to be anonymous. So let me just explain what Bitcoin Core is. So this again is a Bitcoin wallet which provides you with your address, and you can basically perform transactions. Now the thing I like about this is the fact that you basically download it on your desktop, whether you're running Windows, a Mac OS or any Linux distro. You basically control everything about your Bitcoin wallet. So advantages are it's very stable, it's very secure, because your anonymity is in your hands, it's on your desktop, so no one can really get to know anything about that. As I said, it's very, very stable in the sense that, again, everything is up to you. You keep it running when you want. You basically control your transactions. You can view your transactions, and no one is doing it for you. The only downfall to this service is that it doesn't work on the internet and on mobile devices. And I guess that's also just that you may look at it as an advantage, because when it's running on your mobile devices, it's a higher risk that your device may get compromised and that your information, such as your Bitcoin address, may be leaked. So I'm actually going to be demonstrating this right now. So what you want to do is just hit download Bitcoin Core, and you can download it for whatever operating system that you're currently running. I'm going to download it for Windows 64-bit. Again, any operating system that you want is supported. So I've already downloaded it, and it's right here. It's the setup. Just run the setup. Again, if you're another operating system, it should be pretty similar. So let me just start the setup, and here we are. So welcome to the Bitcoin Core setup wizard. So just like all Windows setup wizards, we're just going to hit next, 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 and let it install. It's going to take a few seconds, hopefully not too long. And there we are. I'm just going to hit next and run Bitcoin Core so we can actually get started. All right, now it's going to basically tell you, welcome to Bitcoin Core. As this is the first time the program has launched, you can choose where Bitcoin Core will store its data. Bitcoin Core will download and store a copy of the blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain. At least 122 gigabytes of data will be stored in this directory, and it will grow over time. The wallet will also be stored in this directory. Now, a lot of people have been saying this about Bitcoin Core, is the fact that it downloads the entire blockchain, and that's 122 gigabytes. Now, this may be it may discourage you from using it, but let me just explain why it's going to store the Bitcoin blockchain. So that basically it just helps with anonymity. And I'm not forcing you guys to use this option, but I'm just going to be demonstrating other things with it. So if you're not comfortable with it using 122 gigabytes of data, that's fine. what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a custom directory, and I'm just going to put it in my hard drive here, my huge my 500 gigabyte hard drive right here. I'm just going to select that folder, and I'm just going to hit OK, right? As I said again, you don't have to use this, but I'm just going to show you how Bitcoin basically works with this. So let me just show you the program right now. So just give it a few seconds to start up, and it's going to say loading wallet, right? Just give it a few seconds. Shouldn't take that long to start. All right, so it's going to tell you that your recent transactions may not yet be visible, blah, 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 blah. So it's basically going to start doing it's going to start downloading or storing the blockchain data. Now, I'm just going to hide this, and it's going to say Bitcoin balances are 0, 0, and that's because we have not yet set up anything yet. So if you're going to file, you can basically go to this file option right here, and if I open URL, you can basically open a payment file, which I'll get to. You can then say send. You can basically send money or Bitcoin to a Bitcoin address, and you can enter the amount. All right. If you go to receive, all right, it's going to basically give you a label to receive and the message. All right. Now, if we go into transactions, if we go into sending addresses, these are basically where you can add addresses that you'll be that you may want to be sending Bitcoin to regularly. So I'm just going to close that because I don't want to add anything. You now want to go into settings, and you can basically encrypt your wallet. Now, if I go into options right here, let it just, it's not opening the options. All right. So it's going to say here, you can basically configure whether you want to start Bitcoin on system login, size of the database, wallet, whether you want to enable coin control. You can then look at network, where you can change it if you're using proxies, really advanced things that maybe you may not want to basically touch, but in case you want to, these are the settings that you could change. You can then change the unit. I'm just going to be using bitcoins .btc and hit OK. Now, as it's saying, it's going to be basically syncing headers, and this is basically going to mean that it's going to store data. If you look at transactions, you can basically export whatever transactions that you have onto a CSV file or whatever you feel is good for you. If you go into help, you can debug, and you have some command line options. Nothing really interesting there that you might want to check out. Now, if I go back into receive, all right, you can basically just look at the fact that it says use this form to request payments. All fields are optional. All right, so you can say amount, and if I say request amount, request payment, it's going to say payment information, Bitcoin. Basically, this is your Bitcoin address right here, which has a QR code. So this basically is your Bitcoin address, and this is what you're going to be using to receive a Bitcoin, obviously. And you can do this through your Bitcoin wallet, and you can scan this to basically pay instantly or copy the address. So that's basically your Bitcoin wallet, how to set up your Bitcoin wallet, and how to basically get your Bitcoin address, how to basically send and receive Bitcoin, and that's basically it. Now, again, it'll work very, very similarly in Coinbase, but I'll get to that in the next video. Hopefully we can check that out, but it doesn't really need any special type of information to basically access. It's really user friendly, and hopefully you guys can get started with Bitcoin and your Bitcoin wallet, and hopefully start making some transactions. So that's basically it for this video, guys. I know it was quite long, but I needed to explain some of these things. So yeah, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be basically showing you what my other recommendation is for people who are interested in Bitcoin wallets. Now, in my previous video, I went through Bitcoin Core, which a lot of you may not be you may not like the fact that it'll take so much space on your computer, and that's understandable. 122 gigabytes is a lot of storage space, and a lot of you may not have that. So if you're looking for one similar to Bitcoin Core, but that works online, blockchain.com is one of, I think, the best alternatives that you can go for, and in fact is one of my personal favorites. But I don't use an online service. I like using the desktop one, but that doesn't have to apply to you. You can basically use whatever you're comfortable with. So basically, blockchain.com, the world is now open for business. That's their basic tagline, and it's going to basically give you a bit of information about themselves. They have 14 plus million wallets. That's a lot, right? It has 100 million plus transactions, and has a basically some basic support from the New York Times, claiming that blockchain is the early leader. They're actually making the entire ecosystem. So there you are, really. It basically works really simply. All you have to do is just hit get a free Bitcoin wallet, and it's going to open a blockchain.info wallet sign up. And what you're going to do is you just want to enter your email. So I'm just going to do that right now at gmail.com, and I'm just going to enter my password, right? So I'm just going to enter my password here. You know, make sure your password is nice and strong, obviously for security issues. So just agree to the terms of service. Of course, you have to go through them first. If you're interested in, just hit continue. And I don't want to save my password on the browser. And it's going to say wallet created with identifier, and it'll give you an alphanumeric code right there. So it's going to say, welcome. Thank you for joining over 13 million blockchain wallet users. Our wallet makes transacting easy and intuitive, and is helping to create a fair, accessible, and open financial future. Visit our security center to keep your wallet safe. All right, let's get started. So when you open it, you're basically, it's going to give you the tagline, be your own bank, right? And you can basically send or request. Obviously, send or request Bitcoin. It's going to give you how much Bitcoin you have in your wallet. I have 0 Bitcoin right now. I'll be actually showing you a tip on how to get free Bitcoin in the next video. That's pretty interesting, but we'll get to that when that comes. So basically, you have a very nice user interface right here. So on your left, you have your home, you have your transactions. It's basically a log of all your transactions. You then have your security center, which it advised us to visit. So it's basically going to say verify your email. You can add a backup recovery phase, and you can create a password hint. All very good security features. You then have level 2, which is link your mobile number, and then you have block Tor requests, which is level 3 advanced security to harden your wallet. Very good and very simple, as you can see, for the beginner. You then have your settings, which will basically give you use your wallet ID to log in our web client, or simply scan the code below. Click on show pairing code with your blockchain mobile wallet, iOS and Android. By the way, it works on iOS and Android, and basically to access your wallet on your mobile devices, right? So you can get your wallet ID, and you can basically mobile app pairing code. You can show the pairing code so you can pair it with your Android or iOS device. In terms of preferences, you have your email address, mobile number, your currency, your Bitcoin unit, and all the good settings that you have. You even have themes right here. Very nice. You then have your security. Again, all to do with security in terms of 2-step verification and your password hints, etc. In terms of addresses, you have your Bitcoin wallet, and you can basically add. For example, if I add, let's say, test, and we say create new, and it's going to say my Bitcoin wallet. I have a test Bitcoin wallet that has 0 BTC, and you can basically import your addresses. Really, just a lot of things that you can really do here. Going back home, again, you can send Bitcoin, which is pretty simple, from my Bitcoin wallet to you have your address, which you can scan or enter it manually, and you can enter the amount and basically give a description. In terms of requesting, you can basically, you have your Bitcoin address right here, which you can you basically can copy and keep safe in case you need it on hand. You can enter your Bitcoin, and basically the person, you can share this with the person who wants to send you money, or Bitcoin for that matter. And that's basically it. Very simple website, very simple wallet. As you can see, I set it up in under 5 minutes. And that's basically it. You can basically set up your security in the security center and harden your wallet. And it really all comes down to personal preference in terms of Bitcoin wallets. So that's basically it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Bye. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be basically looking at one of the ways in which you can earn free Bitcoin, and that is through Bitcoin faucet websites. Now, faucet websites are not basically exclusive to Bitcoin. They also work with other types of cryptocurrencies. But we're here to learn about basically earning Bitcoin for free. So let me basically explain to you guys what a Bitcoin faucet website is. So a faucet website is a website that will give out Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency for free in exchange for a simple task. For example, they could basically ask you to watch an ad video or to review basically an application, a game, or a website, really just making you influence the advertisers that they are actually advertising in order to basically get ad revenue. That's their current business model. So in essence, a faucet website is a website that will give you Bitcoin in exchange for performing simple tasks like watching a video ad, as I've just mentioned, and other stuff related basically to computing and browsing. Now, they will usually, most of these faucet websites will pay out a very small amount of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. They usually pay out in small amounts called satoshis. So for those of you who don't know what a satoshi is basically the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, and they are equivalent to a millionth of a Bitcoin. As you can see, it's about 0.00. Basically, you get the millionth of a Bitcoin. So it's very little. And when talking about how much they'll basically pay out, they pay out in satoshis. That does not mean they'll pay out in one satoshi. They'll pay out in a few, let's say 20 satoshis, and maybe even 100 satoshis, depending on the type of task that you're doing. But the amount or the value of the payout that they'll give you also depends on the current state of the current value of the Bitcoin. So if the value of the Bitcoin is higher, which is what it is right now, they will give you a lesser amount of satoshis, because that whatever the amount of the satoshis that they give you is still worth something at the end of the day. And who knows, maybe if you save those satoshis and maybe that adds up to 1 Bitcoin, and in the future the Bitcoin value rises into a few maybe a few tens of thousands, that's really just profit. So you have to just play this really smart investment game. So as I said, their business model is focused on advertisement revenue, where they'll get advertisers to basically use their website to advertise their products, and they basically get users to basically verify the advertisement and run through the advertisement, and they basically pay out using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. So the other feature of these Bitcoin faucet websites is the fact that after you've performed a few of these tasks, they don't allow you to withdraw the amount of Bitcoins that you've earned. They basically want to make sure that you're actually using this service in the long term rather than for the short term, because in the past there have been many cases where the sites have been spammed with bots. Where, if you guys don't know what bots are basically just automated computers that will basically do the tasks automatically, and will basically do it repeatedly just to earn more money and saving energy and time from the actual user. So they'll basically make you do about 100 tasks, and they give you a waiting period, and so that they basically reduce the amount of bots and spammers on the website who just perform one task and then withdraw, because that just defeats the purpose really. So that's basically it. That was basic introduction to what faucet websites are. In the next video, I'm going to be explaining how to use the faucet websites and some of my favorite faucet websites that will basically give you a good amount of Bitcoin or satoshis. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Alright, goodbye. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at the best Bitcoin faucet websites that are around. So in the previous video we actually talked about what a Bitcoin faucet website is and how they work. So we're going to be looking at some of the best options you have right now. So if you want to just basically do a Google search of the best Bitcoin faucet lists as of the current or the date that you are going to be looking at it. So I have this website right here, and it's basically referencing some of the best Bitcoin faucet websites that are currently available. So let's actually check them out. So we're going to check out the first one, freebitco.in. Very nice domain name. So you just want to open it. I'm just going to open it in a new tab right here, and it's going to take us to the website. So win free Bitcoins every hour. Win up to 200 in free Bitcoins. Multiply your Bitcoins by playing high-low. Win high-low jackpots up to 1 Bitcoin, etc., etc. You then have a 50% referral commission for life, which means if you refer someone to this website, you will get 50% off the referral fee. So, you can basically create an account, that's what I'm going to do right now, just to show you how they basically work in real life or basically in practice. So I'm going to give in my email, right? And I'm going to enter my password. And I'm just going to hit sign up. I don't want to save my password on my browser. By the way, that's also a good security tip. Don't actually do that. And there we are. We're actually done, right? So it's going to take us to free BTC, this section in the website. It's very, very well designed website, and it's going to tell you how many Bitcoins you have or Satoshis you have for this that will actually apply here. Now, so it's going to say these are basically notices that you have over here, and you just want to enter this captcha right here, and it's going to ask you to enter images. I'm just going to select images with a storefront. I'm guessing these look like storefronts, and voila, that should take us. All right, now did you know you can multiply your Bitcoins, blah blah blah. I'm going to skip that. And now what this means is this is basically your high-low type of the way you earn money on this website. As you can see, it's gonna say, once I clicked that captcha, it's gonna say I have 0.000081 Bitcoins, right? Now, if I say withdraw Bitcoin, it's gonna say minimum withdraw is about, you can say 0.003,300,000 Satoshi, right? So there's basically a time period in which you have to wait, and all you have to do really is just click once the time runs out over here. Now this is what I was getting to about the bots, and that's why some of the websites have this this withdrawal period where they stop you from withdrawing at a certain period of time. So once this timer runs out, you can basically hit the captcha and get some other Bitcoins, and it's as simple as that. That's how to get free Bitcoin, and it's as simple as that, really. So if you can also check out other parts of their website where it says earn Bitcoins, and basically this is where you can just it'll basically show you proof as to how authentic this service is, and the fact that they actually pay you out Bitcoin. So all you have to do is just keep on entering these captchas or offers, and as it says, if you get the lucky number, you basically get 0.8180580055, and the value just keeps on going as this random number generator basically ticks. So it's just a waiting game and about a bit of patience involved, and eventually maybe you'll have a good amount, and you know that the current value of Bitcoin is high, so you never know, really. That's basically it for this video, guys. That's just an example of some of the many Bitcoin faucet websites you can find out there, and how simple it is to basically make Bitcoin. You're not going to make a lot, but eventually, if you just persevere and keep on using these websites, you'll have a good amount out of nothing, really. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Bye. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up GPG for Win on your Windows operating system, and basically how to use it for PGP communication. So in the first section of the course, I basically explained what PGP is. It's a type of encryption that will allow you to send messages across the internet or even the deep web or the darknet. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up to basically use PGP on the Windows operating system. So let's get started. So what you want to do is you want to open your browser and head over to www.gpg4win.org. Alright, so once you visit this website, the program is free to download. Just hit download GPG4Win, the latest version. As of this release, the latest version is 2.3.3. You can choose to give a donation of money through PayPal, but I'm not going to do that right now. And basically just hit download. So once it's downloaded, what you're going to get is this little setup right here. Alright, GPG4Win with the little padlock. So you want to run this setup, and it's a simple setup wizard, as you'll see. Just hit next, next, next. When you reach this stage, make sure that GPA is ticked. All right, you want to make sure that GPA is ticked. You just hit next, but I already have it installed, so I'm not gonna install it. So once it's done, it's gonna give you these two icons on your desktop, GPA and Cleopatra. So we're done with the setup. Let's get rid of that. Now you want to open GPA. All right. And it's going to open this command prompt, and very soon later after that is going to open this little window here. Now yours will not be like this. Yours will basically show you a welcome screen where it'll ask you to create your key. So let me just delete my current key right now, and I'm going to show you the screen that you're going to get. So I'm just going to go into key and new key. Now this is the screen you'll probably get. All right, so it's going to ask you to generate a key. So it's going to ask you for your name. So just give in your name, your first name, or whatever type of name you want to use, and just hit forward. You then want to enter your email address. I'm going to enter mine. This is for demonstration purposes. Again, the type of communication might be different for you. So enter your email address. Once you've entered your email address, you can create a backup. I'm not going to do that, and I don't really think it's important unless you're using this PGP keys for very important communication. So I'll do that later, and hit forward. All right, so it's going to say your key is being generated. Now it's going to ask you for your passphrase. Now this is the most important thing in this basically in PGP is your passphrase. You have to remember what your passphrase is, and basically your passphrase is supposed to contain letters and numbers. So it's supposed to be an alphanumeric key or code. So I'm just going to create one. Again, the longer the more secure, and it's going to tell you the quality of your passphrase. Make sure you remember it, or I don't recommend writing it down, but just keep it safe and do not share this with anyone. This is basically what will encrypt all the messages. So if someone has this, they can basically encrypt all your messages. So keep this ultra secure. So you can keep it as you can make it as powerful as you want. That's fine for me. I'm just going to hit OK, and it's going to ask you to re-enter the passphrase, and I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to say it's going to create it. Now, as you can see, it's created a key. Now, let me explain something about PGP. As I explained in the first section, you basically have your public key, which I will show you right now. If I say if I basically say copy, if I copy it's basically copied my public key. So let me just show you something right now. If I open up Notepad, and I paste whatever I've copied, this is your public key. All right, it's going to say begin PGP public key block. So this is what people will use to communicate with you. This is your PGP address or code, so to speak. So if you wanted to communicate with someone, you basically send them this. All right. Now, once you've sent them this, what they will do, for example, is let me just show you something right here. I'm going to go into the clipboard side, and I'm going to type a message. They will basically type this message. Let's say they want to type, hello, how are you? Oops, excuse me. How are you? That's the message they want to send you. Very simple message. And they're going to hit encrypt. All right. Now, they are basically going to encrypt it with your public key. So when they hit encrypt, they're gonna paste your public key. We already have the public key entered right here. So we're just going to select it, and we're going to hit OK. All right. Now, once they've encrypted it with your public key, they're going to get this PGP message. This is the basic PGP message. So this is the encrypted PGP message. So they will send you this message. All right. So now once they've sent you this message, you basically have to decrypt it, and you decrypt it using your passphrase. As I said, you have to remember your passphrase. So I'm going to enter my passphrase, and let's see whether it actually gives us the message. And voila, it's going to say, hello, how are you? So basically how PGP works, I'm going to explain this again, is you have your public key, all right, which will be generated, and then you send this to the person you want to communicate with, all right. Now they in turn will basically write a message and encrypt that message with your public key, all right. So let's say they say, hi, this is a test, all right, and they're going to encrypt it with your public key. So they're going to use probably the same program if they're running it on Windows. I'm going to show you how to do this on Linux in the next video. So they're going to open and they're going to encrypt it with your key. So they'll add the key from here, or they can basically paste your public key and hit OK. Now it's going to give them the PGP message, all right. So this is the PGP message, which in essence is basically the message in encrypted format. So they will basically copy this and send it to you. Now once you receive this, all you have to do is hit decrypt and enter your passphrase, and voila, you will have the message there. So that's basically how PGP works and how to set up a GPG4Win on a Windows operating system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to this section of the course. In this section, we're going to get started with creating and hosting your own DeepvWeb or Onion website. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to be showing you how to create and host your own DeepvWeb website. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is just showing you the process. We're going to be using Linux, more specifically Ubuntu. You can use any other Linux distro you want, and that's what I would recommend because it's easier and manageable instead of using Windows. You could do it with Windows, but I'm not going to go into that because it's a really tedious process. And again, you're basically going to be turning your computer into a server, and you don't want it to be running Windows, trust me. So I'm going to be using Ubuntu. I'm running this on my Ubuntu machine right now. So let me just open up a terminal. This is how we get started. So open up a terminal and you want to enter root. All right. So I'm going to enter root right now. So that's sudo bash. I'm going to enter my password. All right. If you guys have a password, enter it and it should grant you root access. Now, first thing we need to do is we need to install the Tor unit. All right. The unit package for Linux. So apt, not the browser, the Tor unit package, apt get install Tor. All right, and it's going to ask you to install it, and once it's installed, it's going to just complete. I've already have it installed, so I don't need to go through that. So once that's done, we're going to have to browse through to a few directories here. So what you want to do is you want to, if you guys are not familiar with the Linux command line, just follow me along. It's the same process. But for those of you who are accustomed to how the Linux terminal works, you'll get the idea. So we're going to change the directory to cd and to the etc or etc folder, and it's going to open that, and let me just list the directories. All right, so we're going to then move into the cd Tor, I believe. If you have installed Tor, this folder should exist. All right, so there it is. You then want to use a text editor to edit the Tor C file right here. So I'm going to use gedit. If you're running Linux, this should come pre-installed on Ubuntu. If you're using Kali Linux, use the leafpad, or if you want to do it through the terminal, you can use Nano, the Nano or the Vim editor. So what we're going to get started with is gedit Tor C. This is the file we want to edit right here and add something there. So I'm just going to open that up, and it's going to open up that file in this nice document folder. Now, as you can see, you want to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you want to enter these two lines here. So I'm going to get rid of them, and I'll show you. Whoops, excuse me. I'm going to get rid of these two lines. Let me get rid of them. All right. So basically, what we have to get started with what we have to enter in now is the following. All right. So we have to just follow along as I type, right? So you want to type in, let me just see if I can, let me just say hidden. All right, so make sure that you don't leave a hash before, because we want to actually activate these commands. So just copy what I'm doing. Hidden service directory, just the way I've punctuated it. Var, we want to store this in the var library tor, and the tor hidden tor hidden underscore service. All right, so once that line is done, we can now go to the next line, and we want to type in hidden service port. All right, hidden service port 80, because that's the default 80. For those of you accustomed to networking, you'll understand this. You now want to get your IP address. All right, now I'll explain something about this. So just open your terminal, another terminal if you can, and just type in ifconfig if you're using Linux, right? ifconfig. This will work on any Linux distro, and you want to go to your current network adapter, and you want to go to the inet section right here, and you want to just copy this. This will be your public, your private, your local IP address. In order for you to host this to the whole entire planet, meaning globally share this website and host it through your machine, you'll basically give it your real IP address or set up a server. But to demonstrate, I'm just going to be using my local IP address. So that's the one there. So I'm just going to copy it. So after the 80, give a space and paste that there. All right. You then want to enter colon and 80. 80 again. All right. So once that's done, those are the two lines that we needed to enter. So let's just save that. Right. So once that's saved, close this file, and we can open up the terminals again. Where we were working. All right, so let's clear that. Now we want to start the Tor service. All right, so this is why I said we need to install the Tor unit. So to install the Tor service, we just want to hit service. Again, for those of you who are accustomed to the Linux command line, you'll know how to start these stuff. So service Tor start. All right, and it's going to start the Tor service if you installed it. Next, what we want to do is we need to install Apache 2. Apache 2 is a live server. For those again of you who are accustomed to web development will understand what Apache is for. Just creates a local host where you can access your website and edit it, etc., etc. So to do that, you just want to hit apt install Apache 2. All right, and as you can see, I already have it installed, but yours, if it's not installed, it's going to install it for you, and you're basically ready to go. So next thing you want to do is hit service Apache 2, and we want to start it. All right, there we are. So that's started, and now what we can do is we need to browse into the folders that we have set. So to do that, I'm gonna just hit Nautilus. Nautilus is a root file browser or file explorer, so I'm just gonna open Nautilus. All right, and it's going to open my file explorer. So I'm going to go into the hard drive where Ubuntu is installed, and you want to go to this directory. So you want to go into var, all right, var library tor. You want to go into tor. So this should be down here, tor, and you want to go into hidden service and the host name. All right, your host name is basically your DeepvWeb link, your Onion website link. So just leave that open, and now we can go all the way back to your hard drive, and you want to go into var, all right, and www and your HTML. So this is your Apache folder, and this index.html is your actual website source code. So let's say we wanted to create a test website. I'm going to open a text editor. I'm going to be using Atom because I am also a web developer. So if you guys are obviously accustomed to web development, this should be no surprise for you. So let's create a new file, and let me just save this as I'm going to save it on my desktop as index. It's going to be a very simple website, index.html. I'm going to save that, right? And let's just get let me just enter the syntax. All right, so there we are. I'm just going to call it test DeepvWeb. Whoops. site. That's the title of the website. In the body, I'm just going to create a container, div container, and let's call this welcome to the website. We're not using Bootstrap, so I really can't style it much more than that, but this is just a simple website. We can give it some simple styling, some internal styling. Style is equals to color, let's say red. You guys don't have to do this because when you'll be creating your own website, it's all up to you. I'm just basically creating a text website HTML file, so I can just show you that it works. So we're basically going to say welcome to the website. This site was created for the deep web. All right, so I'm gonna save this, and we can exit now. Now we're going to get rid of this index.html. I'm going to move it to the trash, and we're going to move in the one we've just created, which is in the var, ww, and html folder. So I'm going to copy it in there. So once that's done, we are almost getting to where we wanted to get. Next thing, you need to download the Tor browser, the actual Tor browser, as I showed you guys. So basically what you want to do is just open up your browser and search for Tor. Tor, simple as that. And it's going to take you to the website right here. Just click on that website and just hit download. And again, you can just select your architecture right here. We're using Linux for this, so download the Linux version. And now I'm going to open my file explorer. Right here, I'm going to go to my downloads. I already have the Tor browser extracted, so all I have to do is just hit Tor browser, and hopefully it should start the Tor browser, and we can basically paste the link to our website, which hopefully should be running because of the Apache. So let the Tor browser start up. There we are. Now I'm going to just copy the link that belongs to our website. Let's copy this and let's paste this and go. And hopefully if it worked through the ports and the Apache, we should get, there we are. So welcome to this website. This website was created by the DeepvWeb. And if you see, we can basically, this is what we wrote, and that's the basic web page. So as you can see, this is an Onion website, and this is the basic website. Really very simple and meaningless website, but you guys get the idea. This is just showing you how to go about setting the environment up and basically creating a test website, and how to basically set up Apache. So that's basically it for this video, guys. It's not really that complicated, but as you can see, it's totally worth it, and it does work. So if you guys have any questions at all about anything that we've done in this section, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at the best deep web or darknet hosting services available. Alright, so as you can see in front of you, I have 4 options here, and they all offer something completely different, or they offer the same service but in a different way. Now by default, the links will be in the resources section where you can check out these sites for yourself. And again, if you're looking for some of the best hosting services on the deep web or the darknet, these are the options that I would recommend for you. So I've sorted them out really well, and of course most of them are mostly paid, and I have given you a free option here, which is using Daniel's hosting, and we'll get to that in a second. You may remember that we visited the Daniel's chat room, and it's all part of the same. It is owned by Daniel. So he also offers free hosting, which is fantastic. I'm in no way endorsing him. Just the fact that he's offering a free hosting service is excellent. Now let's get started with our first option, which is probably one of my favorite ones, and it is ServNet. Alright, so ServNet as security and encryption. Alright, so if you just look at why you would choose ServNet, as you can see, we offer you any hosting solution within the most secure infrastructure designed exclusively for the Tor network. Alright, so they're offering you a secure infrastructure that will work with the Tor network, which is, I'm guessing, which is what you want. Alright, so no contract or hosting agreement is required. Excellent as well. So they're also providing you with anonymity, which is excellent. So ServNet's customers are big business names that require that require that their data is secure, consumer confidence and corporate reputation being prime considerations. As you can see, data protection backed by 15 years of specialized Linux engineers. So again, this is more of a professional level in terms of hosting, and as you can see, you get bulletproof services, enterprise grade hardware, 24 hours of VIP support, strong partner program that also offers referrals. You can pay through cryptocurrency in terms of Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, Ether, Monero, and those are the options available for cryptocurrency payments. Now, when we look at the dedicated servers up on the right here, they offer you the ability to select your own dedicated servers. So as you can see, SFTP and Torify access, pre-installed software, you have Nginx, Apache, PHP, and MySQL. So they're giving you the entire package that one would require. And the fantastic thing is they offer you different different setups depending on the processing power and also depending on what type of sites you're going to be using. Now, by default, the lowest package is the Intel Atom with, a CPU core of, it has 2 CPU cores by 1.7 gigahertz, which is not that fast. So this would be probably ideal if you're hosting a little small website that's not expecting a lot of traffic. And as you can see, you have the storage with 1 times 500 gigabytes SATA 3. And obviously the bandwidth is going to be the same for all the packages. It is 1 gigabit per second unmetered. The price is $59, which is, to be honest, on the deep web or the darknet is fantastic. All right. Now you can see that you have the more powerful options, the highest being the 2 times Intel Xeon E5620, which is a workstation grade processor, and that is being coupled or is doubled. And then you have your 16 cores by 2.4 gigahertz and 64 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM or memory. So again, these may be options for you if you're looking, or your site is expected to have high traffic and requests, and you get the idea really. All right. So as you can see, highest data security, your server with us ensures full privacy and optimal connections. Included 1 custom onion domain. So again, you can select your own onion domain, which is fantastic. In terms of vServers, you can open that up. Virtual servers. So again, DDoS protected root vServers. Fantastic, really. You can go through all of this by yourself. The idea is simply the same. You can click order on yours, and again, if they're performing maintenance, you can just wait for them to get back up, and they should be up. Actually, they are pretty much up most of the time. They're currently having or under maintenance, so we'll wait for them to get back. But regardless of that, they're a fantastic service that I would recommend that you go for. All right. The next option is a free alternative, which is Daniel's Hosting. Now, for those of you who are interested in hosting a site on the deep web or the darknet, this is what I would recommend for you if you're especially looking for a free option. So as you can see, free anonymous web hosting, choose between PHP, you have your Nginx web server, SQLite support, you have your MySQL database, phpMyAdmin, FTP access, which is also great as well. There is no disk quota, which is, I think that's fantastic. And kudos to Daniel for providing all of this for free. You have mail. So again, you'll be given your own domain, from your onion domain, that is. You have webmail. Again, you mail to send to anything.onion.com. So anything sent to your domain will be redirected to your inbox, your own onion address. On your request, you own a clear domain. Again, set up, alright, so that is to deal with I2P. So again, empty or unused accounts will be deleted after a month, which is also great to see that he's maintaining the fact that if you don't use account for over a month, it can be given to someone else. That space can be given to someone else. So the process is really very simple. Just going to hit register. Alright. Just give that a few seconds. And again, you can just use your username, your password, confirm that. And you can publish the site on the list of hosted sites so that people can find you here, or actually the Onion Links site, the Onion Link list, and so on and so forth. All right. That being said, you can also create your custom private key if that's what you're looking for, and you can enable auto index, which will allow the listing of files, and just register. And once that's done, you log in and you can go ahead and start uploading your files, either through FTP or the file manager. All right. The next option is to deal with servers. All right. So if you're looking for cloud hosting, as you can see, you can visit Shy Service, a fantastic service as well. And as you can see, privacy preserving cloud hosting, deploy a server in 55 seconds, starting at $0.01 per hour anonymously. All right. So fantastic service here. And the great thing about them is that they use DigitalOcean. Now, if you're not familiar with DigitalOcean, they essentially allow you to create, your own servers and to deploy them for whatever use. In this case, they've partnered or they've teamed up with DigitalOcean, where they have SSD they have the SSD disks, and again they focus on anonymity and privacy. So again, payments are done through cryptocurrencies, etc., etc. All right, so there are different prices as well. You have your $7 a month, that gives you 512 megabytes of RAM, 1 CPU, 20 gigabyte SSD disk, and 1 terabyte transfer. The most popular plan is the $20 a month, and that is also given as 1 gigabyte of RAM, 3 CPUs, 60 gigabytes of SSD, 3 terabytes. So you get the idea. All right. And you can just click on get started to move on. All right. So I would really recommend this if you're looking for cloud hosting and if you're looking for, server for whatever you may need it for. All right. So this is a great option for servers. All right. Now let's look at something really, really interesting, which is how to create your own Tor store or your own deep web store. Now, a lot of you might be interested in this. You want to start up your own store on the deep web for whatever you're selling. I'm not going to indulge into any of that. And you can go to Tor shops. All right. And as you can see, it will allow you to create your own .onion store. All right. So get your own onion store with full Bitcoin integration. You want to run, so again, they're asking if you want to run an independent shop as a Tor hidden service anonymously. You want to accept Bitcoins. Maybe you're selling on Silk Road, etc., etc. So they're essentially giving you an option here to create your own onion store. So you'll get an integrated Bitcoin wallet, a message center, tracking of orders, inventory management. You get your own onion domain with 6 characters at the beginning, which is awesome. Your free logo for every store, and you have your sub forums in the Tor shops for feedback and reviews, and you get a free listing. As you can see, it listed free listing on Tor links and other sites. All right. So the pricing here is the setup pricing is $100. The sales fee 6% of sales, 3 to 5 for large volume sellers on an individual basis, and you can see upgrades for the store upgrade prices. So again, the price is $100 for setup, and you can buy as many in terms of quantity as you want. And when you look at the store upgrades, you get a fully custom shop design made by one of their designers, which is $500, which is quite fair, and your own forums with an extra onion address, so a bit like subdomains, which is awesome. All right. Now, again, I would not recommend that you use this for anything illegal, but I'm not going to be in charge of what you do. So I would really, as a word of caution, I'm not going to be held responsible for this, and it's really up to you. Now, since I don't want to, create a deep web store, or an onion store for that matter, I'm not going to buy it. But the link will be in the resources section, and you can get or check that out for yourself. All right. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope these solutions for web hosting and other types of hosting really, really helps. And I'll be seeing you in the next video.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this section of the course. In this section, we're going to be looking at how to access the deep web from your Android device. So let's get started. So you want to head over to the Google Play Store on your Android device, and you want to search for the following application. You want to search for Orbot. All right, O-R-B-O-T, like so. And it's going to be the first one. As you can see, I've already installed mine. So it's going to be Orbot Proxy with Tor. Now this is created by the Tor project, and it's absolutely free. So you can go ahead and just install it. And once that's installed, you want to now search for another application called Orfox. Okay, so Orfox is the Tor browser for Android. So you want to also make sure that you download that. It is also made by the Tor project, so it's official and it's absolutely free. So once you have that installed, we're good to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open Orbot. All right. So once you've installed Orbot, excuse me, let me just get that up. So once you've installed Orbot, you just want to open it up. Okay, and that's the screen as you can see, and you just want to hit start. Okay, and once you hit start, it's going to start connecting to the Tor proxies or the Tor relays, and just give it a few seconds. It shouldn't take very long, and as you can see, there we are. Once it's connected, the onion logo will turn into a nice green color, and if you swipe down your notification bar, it'll tell you that your upload and download speed right here. As you can see, there's our speeds. Now in this application, you have the ability to change your identity, and you have your app's VPN mode. That means you're basically telling the applications that you're using a VPN. When it comes to bridges, don't worry about that. You really don't need to touch anything there. You can then change the location that you want your IP to originate from, or you want your end node to originate from. In this case, we're just going to select Australia, for example. And once we're done with that, we can just close it up. And now if you want to access the DeepvWeb, all you have to do is hit browse. And once you hit browse, it's going to open the Orfox browser that we installed. Now I know you guys are seeing a blank screen, and that is because this Orfox browser does not allow screenshots or recording, but I will be placing a screenshot as to how the screen will look, telling you that the browser is configured for Tor. So let me just take a screenshot of my screen, and I have taken a screenshot. Now I know you guys are seeing a blank screen, but there is another way of you accessing the DeepvWeb on your Android device, and that is through another application. The Orfox version or method will work. It's just that I cannot take a screenshot or I cannot record the Orfox browser. That is a security feature implemented. So the other version, the other application that will do the same for you is if I search for Onion in the Google Play Store. It's going to be the second one right here, and it's going to be called fire.onion. So browser plus Tor. So make sure you install that. That's also free. So what you want to do is just hit open, and it's going to start connecting to the Tor network. And I'm just going to close Orbot now. As you can see, I'm just going to close that because we're using this one. And immediately, once we're in fire.onion, it's going to open up a onion link, and hopefully you guys can see the screen right now. Just let it open up DuckDuckGo. That is the default search engine that is going to open up. So just give it a few seconds to load up. As you can see, there we are, we're getting something. If it takes too much time, that means it's trying to find a node. So there we are, we're in DuckDuckGo, and we can just search for the hidden wiki, something like that, just to see whether it works. And there we are. Just give it a few seconds. Obviously it's going to be slow, and it's also going to depend on the speed of your internet. So the hidden wiki, let's click on the first link, and hopefully that brings us to the list of DeepvWeb onion sites. As you can see, there we are. So let me just open a random site, an onion site this time, and I'm going to open the Torch search engine, which I know you guys are familiar with already. So let me just open it up. As you can see, it's going to take us into a new tab. And there we are. As you can see, an onion link is working and you are connected to the DeepvWeb. So those are the two methods of running or how to access the DeepvWeb on your Android device. As I said, the first version with Orbot using the Tor project applications works perfectly. It's just that I cannot record the screen overlay for Orfox. This browser does not allow, the Tor browser, this Orfox browser does not allow screen recording. So I had to show you the alternative method, which is by using this app called fire.onion, which has the browser and the Tor bundle package together. Now these applications are all free and do not require root access, so you should be good. So that's basically it for this lecture, guys. I hope you found value in this lecture. If you did, please let me know in the Q&A section. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section, and I'll be seeing you in the next section.